I think I'm a lesbian, frontin' on some thespian. Mary is my bestest friend, Jane last name, man. So we question it. First was looks a kiss, now PDA amongst pedestrians. People say I'm bugging, man. I don't be stressing it. I'm on cloud 9, not bothered with impressing them. My mind is on $1, so it really don't make sense to them. She be with that stinky green, which really don't make sense to them. She gives me a clear view, my eyes be looking squint to them. I be looking bent to them. I put up the fence to them. They parasites, trying to kill my weeds. No parasites, all sprayed on these. Miss Jane is what I need. I say legalize our love cause we were meant to be. Throw some awareness parades that were meant for me. And J. Mary, she brings out the other me, Medea, Tyler Perry.
The winner of the Giver Up for the year is Sunshine Monet.
Excuse me, give me that mic. Thank you. Anyway, first and foremost, I would like to thank myself for being amazing. Thank you, self. I would like to thank all the people I had to step on to get here, because you know, heat rises and a bitch is hot. I'm up to the top.
Manifested by elements ethereal, I knew of terrestrial material, intertwined celestial of imperial, infiltrating corporation of oppressive serial. Resilience is something like a miracle, observing kinfolk and draconian material. The more equipped for ascension, the more one seems to be treated as inferior. Dr. Umar said, the white man's heaven here, the Asian man heaven here, the Arabic man heaven here. But the black man heaven fit, cause it lies in death. Release from the karma debt, release from all the stress, release what we don't confess. In order to live, I guess we must be bodiless. Makes me wonder, if we made out of greatness most fit for this plane, then why we the most hated? Why we the most hated? Was I in court waiting for my sentence? Listening to a witness accuse me of unfitness to remain in these cosmic dimensions? Is that why we repent and we ask for forgiveness? The hours and days, they feel repetitious. Oppressive energy soaking up my minutes. Purple haze blowing smoke on my grimace. Another nobody traveling out of limits. Exiled from cosmos as penance. Or maybe this time it's just an intermission. Like Jesus' chapters that went missing. Traveling and gaining knowledge between the dimensions. Christ consciousness bringing me ascension. Kundalini flows up now, where are my intentions? So don't cry for me when my time is risen. Sing some praises, cause you know that I made it. And know you're all my extensions. Yes, you're all my extensions. Peace, y'all. Welcome to the Planetary Forecast. This week's forecast will be going from January 16th to January 23rd. So we'll be starting from Monday to Monday. And then I'll, of course, sneak some little extra things for us to look forward to. We could just get on started. And for those of you guys who are viewing, if you say your name in the comment section, once we get to the part of the hump day readings, I'll pull a card for you. For those of you guys that are viewing on Instagram, you guys can tap in on YouTube, Less Nobodies, if you guys want to see the full presentation of the planetary forecast. Excuse me, but this is something I do every week. You know, coming back to the knowledge of what's a natal chart. A natal chart is pretty much like the planetary placements when you're born. You know, all living beings have an electromagnetic field, which includes the terror of the universe, and those electromagnetic fields have an
have an effect on the chakra centers on yourself. So natal planet placements, excuse me, are the result of how one spent their past life and what they learned or what they need to learn, in this life. These placements provide spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical tools for one to navigate through the life. The goal is to rise above all the cosmos and gain energetic awareness through sphere 0 to sphere 9. Why do you go live if nearly any people come? Um, well, I go live on here because not everybody knows to go to YouTube. So it doesn't bother me that nobody's in here. It's more so me being able to get the recordings down so that I can make the reels with them. And that's kind of like what people view the most. So one thing I learned with performing on stage, even when there's nobody on stage, you're supposed to still perform. But yeah, so the goal is to rise above all the cosmos and gain energetic awareness through sphere 0 to sphere 10, which is the crown chakra. Natal charts are calculated by your birth date, birth time, birth city, and state. There's like over 80 different charts that you could read from. Here at Less Nobodies, I do the tropical chart, which is your mindset, how you think, and how you think you're supposed to be. I do the sidereal or the Vedic chart. Well, going back to the tropical chart is all about where the planets are as far as what zodiac they're in. So we have the tropical chart doing that, and then we have the sidereal with the Vedic chart, and that's what constellations the planets are in. That's when we start to get into your heart set, your emotions and things like that. When we do the nakshatras, that's when we get into your behaviors and different events that'll happen. And that's when we talk about like the exact star that your planet is nearby. And we do the draconian chart. The draconian chart is your past lives. And it tells the stories of your different past lives and how your past life led you to your current tropical, sidereal, and nakshatra charts. So, I'm capable of doing all those different charts to create a reading for you, whatever questions you want answers. Synastry charts I also do when you're trying to align your natal chart with someone else's, or not just a person, but a place. If you're trying to move to a certain place and you want to align your chart with the chart of the place you want to move to, or vacation at, or have a certain business venture at, or if you're looking for a partner in a certain area, I do those type of things too. I also do astrocartography, where we could talk about the different experiences that you can expect to have in certain places based upon their alignment with your natal chart. So what are chakras? Chakras, basically the mindset is we're infinite beings in our physical form. Although we are in physical form, each of our forms have mental, spiritual, emotional, psychological, all these different selves within the physical form. And the spiritual selves of our physical parts are called chakras. Balance or imbalance of these selves or centers affect all of our other selves or centers, including our physical. Like if the emotions are out of whack in your gut, you'll start to have IBS or some type of gastric disorder. Virgos overthink a lot, and a lot of the thinking comes from their gut. So you could expect Virgos to have some sort of IBS or, gastric issues. People with a lot of heart chakra placements, a lot of placements in Libra and Taurus energy usually have certain issues to do with their eyesight or with heart issues and things like that to be mindful of if they engage in overindulgent, which those signs tend to do a bit with, consumption of food and beverage and alcohol and different things like that. So, yes, all your physical cells have all these different kind of cells, and out of our infinite number of chakras, we have 7 main chakras that we actually acknowledge. Chakra means wheel or circle of life. They're connected to our main energy centers, of the body, deities, orishas, or colors, frequencies, or sounds. And that's come back to remind you guys that, you guys are the orishas, you guys are the deities. They're all just personifications of who you are on the inside. Yes, all all living elements of this universe to last in the next. The flow is called the Shakti. Brahmins or supreme energy is responsible for the release and function of one Shakti. The mystic aim is to take the coiled energy, which is your Kundalini, which lies dormant in the root chakra, and release it into the Brahmins, which are your chakras, unconscious energy, sphere 10 to sphere 0 in the nether room. So you want to wake up your Kundalini and allow it to rise. In order to do that, you have to be in alignment with your natal chart, so that you know what energies that Kundalini is going to, so you could be aware of them. When you're psychologically aware of them, it makes it easier for you to meditate into your Kundalini rising. Because what you imagine comes to fruition for the most part. Also, we get into, you'll see a lot of alignments while I'm speaking with the planets and the Neterus, the different spheres according to the Kabbalah and all those different things. These are dope visuals. Again, this is something that I go through in the beginning of every episode, just in case there's new people coming on to watch. And again, for those of you guys who are tapped in on Instagram, if you just move on over to the YouTube, you'll be able to see the visuals that I'm talking about. When I start talking about the chakras, when I get into it, we'll get into the masculine and feminine side of each chakra, as every chakra does have a masculine and feminine side. As far as the feminine side goes, we're going to start at the root chakra, being Aquarius, the feminine side of the root chakra, feminine side of the sacral chakra is Pisces. Then we get into Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer. The masculine side is Capricorn, Sagittarius, Scorpio, Libra, Virgo, and then Leo. Then you have the names of the chakras. And these are all things that I'll reintroduce as we start to talk about the planetary placements. Also, the 4 elements, we also recognize 5 elements. The 5th element being ether is being ruled by Jupiter energy. But, just going over the 4 main ones and the zodiac energy. So when you see certain planets inside of certain chakras, keep in mind that the element that planet is associated with, and that is the element that is in your chakra. So you can have a bunch of fire in your heart chakra, a bunch of air in your masculine solar plexus, but then a bunch of water in the feminine solar plexus. And that'll explain some of the tug of wars you may go through in your powerhouse, how you feel on the inside versus the energy that you exert on the outside. And we get into all that here. As far as the planetary forecast goes, we get into the tropical and the sidereal charts. Again, this is another visual of the planets and how they rule different parts of your body and your chakras, and also a little glimpse into astrocartography, the role of the chakras on Earth. And for those of you guys that want to get into like what season we're in, so according to like African zodiac, we're in the Baobab season. And the Baobab season goes from January 4th to February 3rd. This is the energy of being firm, stable, strong, invincible, having the resources to conquer resistance, having self-confidence, integrity, honesty, reflection, and cleverness, and just living a well and prosperous life. If you want to get into peace, thank you for tapping in. If you want to get into like Native American zodiac energy, we're talking about the snow goose, and the snow goose is from December 22nd to January 19th. That's associated with the Turtle Clan, which is the energy of self-confidence, being able to teach people around you, which is very much in alignment with that Tahuti energy, finding balance in your environment and needing to find integrity to boost your self-confidence. So it's a lot of like, mentally building yourself, communicatively building yourself, different things I've been talking about in the past few weeks during the planetary forecast. And then for those of you guys that are into the lunar calendar, with the Chinese zodiac, we are entering the year of the water rabbit. That'll begin on January 22nd this year, up until February 9th, 2024, which is actually a pretty interesting day. And we'll get into that later. But this is the energy of intuition and inner peace and patience, luck and prosperity. Also thinking through things prior to acting them out. Again, you guys have tapped into Instagram. If you guys come over to YouTube, you'll be able to see my presentation. My YouTube page is Less Nobodies. And that's pretty much like the overview of the planetary forecast, what it is I'm going to be talking about and the different ways I cover it. So we could just get on into the root chakra of things. The root chakra also, the, well, actually, no, rewind. So you guys, I went past through all the zodiacs of the different cultures. I wanted to also get into the zodiac energy and according to Metsu Netter. Of course, I know this is my go-to book for all things. And then I also wanted to get into as far as the Kabbalah goes. So I'll start with the Kabbalah actually. Um, so we're entering the Aquarian energy as far as like the tropical chart. We're getting into the Aquarian energy this week don't but we're still in the Capricorn constellations, and I'll make that make sense to you as we talk about the planetary placements. Don't worry about that, but just talking about the mindset, the thoughts with the tropical chart, we're in the energy of Shabbat, and this correlates with the astrological sign of Aquarius, which is an air sign, and this is the third of the air signs, which is Gemini, Libra, and then Aquarius. Aquarius represents the left column of the three. Aquarius is ruled by two planets, and traditional astrology attributes the control of this month to Saturn, and modern astrology has given it to Uranus, which was discovered by the astronomer William Herschel, March 13th, 1781. And y'all know we had gotten into the history of the labeling of the planets and how, you know, even in the stars, we dealt with some colonialism and renaming the stars and and moving around the constellation borders and all that fun stuff. A lot of that occurred in the 1700s and the early 1800s. Saturn, the seventh planet in the solar system, is the planet of judgment, order, responsibility, discipline, and laws. And Uranus is the eighth planet in the solar system, the one that breaks the proximity and limitations of seven, which is 7 days. The seventh day, seven colors, seven notes. So Uranus is automatically like that progressive energy because it goes past, what people are accustomed to. Uranus elevates us to new consciousness and new concepts beyond limitation. This is why the age of Aquarius and the month of Aquarius are considered times of change. Both are times of knowledge, inventions, humanity, the need to help, to understand, and to support the needy. And also to clarify some things, we are not in the age of Aquarius. On the tropical chart, we are in the age of Aquarius. As the same token, on the Vedic sidereal chart, the constellations, we are still in the age of Pisces. We are not there yet. So for some of these people out here that are still in the era of belief, still going with Christianity and believing and faith and hoping for a savior and stuff like that, they're in alignment with the constellations, and that's why they're moving slow, and you got to give them space to do that. Now, for those of you guys that are ahead of the game and already in the mindset, like I said, the tropical chart is the mind, the thought, what you think it's supposed to be. We are in the age of Aquarius, which is the age of knowing. So your mindset is there, but the emotions and the going through the actions of the things with the feelings, still in Pisces energy, still going to be in the energy of belief. So there's still some tug of war going back and forth. We will actually be in the constellation of Aquarius in 2077. No, not 2077. 2070. So, we got some more years to go before we enter the Aquarian constellation. And once we get into that, like that alignment of the mind and the heart, that'll be a dope vibe, for those of us that'll still be here to see it. Hopefully I'll be long gone on another planet. But the energy of Uranus also connects to the air element, which is intellectualism, innovations, and new concepts that will bring the world to a higher level of consciousness. Aquarians are rebellious by nature because they are constantly faced with penetrating questions concerning their individuality, their uniqueness, and their identity. And this is the reason they strive to break old boundaries. To Aquarians, the past is but a fleeting moment, and they disconnect from the past in order to find a fresh and unfamiliar reality, a new truth to fit the new times. Uranus orbits the sun every 84 years, which explains the common phenomenon of the midlife crisis that plagues 40 to 42-year-olds. It is actually a case of the Aquarius itis when we begin to question our life's purpose and make plans for the next 40 years or so. Aquarians make excellent computer technicians, scientists, and social workers, and they thrive doing anything revolutionary, especially the tasks that carry the flag of social political revolution. As far as the age of Aquarius goes, the Kabbalists, what do you say? I don't know. Y'all figure it out. But they explain that the age of Aquarius began approximately 400 years ago and is considered the age of revelation or the age of redemption. Why does Aquarius or Shevat, according to the Hebrew calendar, symbolize redemption? Because Aquarians perceive the world as unified. The Kabbalists consider this to be the basis of true redemption. Redemption is when all negativity is cleansed, when humanity is free from evil and fragmentation. Because of their higher level of consciousness, Aquarians are directly linked to this redemptive moment. Aquarians are unique, they stand out in a crowd and cannot be ignored. They show great promise as children and as adults, as they are idealists who strive to change the universe with original ideas. They are rebels, and their concern is the well being of humanity as a whole, and they rebel against established ways of doing things and always looking to find new, better ways to solve world problems. Again, coming back to your mindset, this is where your brain is at, which makes a lot of sense because this is where a lot of people's brains is at. And now you're in a space where you're trying to teach other people and you want other people to wake up, or you're at least trying to, get the people that are aligned with your tribe to, notice you so that you guys can align accordingly. And it's happening. I got into that last week with the planetary forecast about us entering the year of 7. We are in the year 7, the celestial bodies coming to work, the celestial government coming into play. And that's when you let the cards go and you let the universe take the wheel, and beautiful things come out of that. But yeah, though Aquarians seek justice for all, this is a global quest and not a personal one. They support things that are grand and noble while they fail to be sensitive to those around them who are suffering. Aquarians often lack a sense of practical, and they are passionately independent and private. Their desire for originality causes them to set themselves apart from the crowd, and despite their friendliness and open-mindedness, they are also most stubborn of all signs. They reject all established structures and fight to maintain their individuality and freedom in order to exercise their innovative ideas. They detest confinement of any sort, yet the most challenging barrier they face is most often their own egos. Even as they begin to make changes in their lives, their focus tends to be external and they have trouble really changing from deep within. Aquarians have a power to break free of limitations of the physical world, but to manifest this power, they must control the aspects of their nature that interfere with this accomplishment. Aquarians are capable of helping humanity as long as their own ideas do not become more important than the cause itself. True spirituality means being a part of humanity, not above it. And unfortunately, Aquarians usually have such a high opinions of themselves that imposing their own views can become their sole objective. Um, that's something to be mindful of for those of you that are tapping into this Aquarian energy. Be mindful that your purpose is not a purpose that's above the needs of humanity, that's actually in alignment, which you see a lot of people like going through now. I respect that everybody's on their own, path, their own journey, because even while we're on these platforms and these podiums providing knowledge and spiritual assistance and things like that, don't get it twisted, we're still healing and going through our trials and tribulations as well. We're still being tested, we're still growing, and all those different things are still happening to us as well. So, be mindful of that for all my healers out there, my speakers and my influencers, that the energy that you're putting out there is in alignment with your humanitarian purpose. Check your 11th house, check your 12th house. If it's cool if your 10th house is in alignment with your 11th and your 12th, but don't let the 10th house overpower your 11th or 12th, because it's a lot of the soul work that you're doing, the healing work that you're doing, the revolutionary work you're doing is more so for selfish reasons and not necessarily for like everybody as a whole. But as you see, like I'm saying, like a lot of the influencers, a lot of the leaders, they're learning that lesson the hard way right now, right? Because people are not afraid of putting them out there on Front Street. People are not afraid to call them out on their bullshit and say, hey, I bought your education package and I haven't received it yet, or hey, you're not exactly like practicing the things that you preach. And so, a lot of people's, personal, yeah, there we go. A lot of people's personal business is coming out on Front Street. A lot of people's different personal information and stuff like that is coming out on Front Street, and it's that like that's something that they have to go through in their journey as far as realizing that like, yeah, your ego was out there when you was
preaching and teaching to people, and like this is your moment of I don't like the word humble, because for me humble sounds like humiliate, but like this is just like a way of like bringing you back to the people. This is oming you out. But yeah, for those who are born under the sign of Aquarius, and for those who are about to become influenced by the cosmic energy of Aquarius, you can attain the consciousness of a cosmic reality and feel responsible for humanity as a whole. And you can know true friendship and perhaps even universal fraternity. Um, and Aquarians have the strength for this task from past lives, and you can experience an exceptional and unique adventure in the history of humanity if you manage the most difficult restriction, which is silencing your ego and practicing humility. You know, I hate that word humility, but practicing humility and modesty while living in simplicity. So that's the energy as far as the Aquarian season goes. And then getting to the Nutter book, you guys know it's just my go to. I wanted to just read to you guys the season that we're in so that you guys can see what's up with the Kundalini rising and all that fun stuff. So let me find the page. So yeah, from December 21st to February 5th, we got the North, you know, the spiritual hour is midnight to 3 a.m. We're dealing with the Netaru Seker with and dark deceased Nekbet. And your parasympathetic has just arrived at its extreme point, and your sympathetic has just been reborn. You are in non-REM sleep or trance, and the focus of your consciousness as you sleep has returned to the subjective realm, to Amen, that Ra may enter into a secrecy of marrow to be renewed in the waters of Nut. Kapara has taken the seed you sowed in the womb of all Set during its preceding power period and fashioned the egg from which it is born into the world. In the cycle of the year, this is the winter solstice, which is December 21st to the 25th. This time of year and day is the most auspicious time for your Nekbet faculty, which is on Hong Kashong, and we'll get into that as we get into the chakras. But during the 4 days, which is December 21st to the 24th midnight, fast, meditate, and chant to energize these decisions made at the autumnal equinox ritual. So during the autumnal equinox, you know, I did something with a group of you guys where we wrote down our intentions, the seeds we wanted to plant, and we buried them, right? Remember when we did that as a group? Well, this is a time where, you know, during the winter solstice, that was a time where you were supposed to be fasting and meditating and medium mystic trance to really, you know, bring forth the energy towards, you know, harvesting what we planted in the dirt during the autumnal equinox. Um, you know, we've been taught that we're supposed to eat and consume during that season, but actually we're supposed to be doing like the complete opposite. Um, yeah, but this is definitely not the time to be caught drunk, filled with domesticated beasts in your stomach. Wonder why there has been no peace on earth. Your sympathetic has been reawakened, but is still underground because during that season when we're supposed to be fasting to give our Kundalini energy to rise, we're instead, you know, compacting it down with all the different stuff we're consuming that keeps it dormant. The seed has not sown, the egg has been fashioned, but the gestation has not yet occurred. So, you know, if you guys didn't know that about this year, hopefully next year, you know, we'll get it together. Ain't nothing wrong with it. But that just goes to show you that the Netherlands are inside of you, not outside of you. And it was just like a way of personifying the different parts of you. So that's it for the zodiac energy that's around us as a whole. So now we can get into the chakra energy. So we start with the root chakra, which is the Muladhara. Mula being root and Adara meaning existence, and this is located at the base of the spine. This is the energy of being grounded, disciplined, having order, boundaries, authority, your survival of self, you know. And if you guys are tapped in on Instagram, you can see the different sounds, the color frequencies, the notes to play on the piano, the different vowel sounds, and mantras and stuff to chant to, you know, tap into your root chakra, get in alignment with the root chakra of the universe. The overall energy of our root chakra is associated with Babalue, which we know now is Saturn. Okay, and that right now is sitting in the Aquarian energy, you know, that rebellious energy, you know, your root chakra. You're going to be coming across like different, you know, situations as far as like like I told you guys earlier, a lot of the different like community leaders and stuff like that, they're coming into different situations and placements where like their ego is being checked, because a lot of them weren't teaching off the strength of I want to teach to help people, or I want to teach to assist people in their healing journey. It was ego shit. I want to pay my bills. I want another LLC. I want all these different things that are not in alignment with humanity, instead of sitting back and trusting that process. So, a lot of people's egos are being checked. A lot of people are being forced to sit down, sit on the sidelines, whatever, what have you, you know, until they realize, hey, that's not in alignment. Go sit down somewhere real quick, And this is in the sixth house, so this is in like people's daily routines. A lot of you guys are going to be tested on your boundaries, on your daily routine. People that are around you in your daily life, your regular authority for self and self discipline. So when you do start to set these boundaries, this is what those boundaries will be applying to. This is the area of your life your boundaries will be applying to. Right now, as far as in the feminine side of our root chakra, that's associated with Shango, Asar, which is self knowledge. We're dealing with the first sphere in the tree of life, which is unity and power. We have again Saturn on the feminine side of our root chakra, bringing the challenges again, coming back to like you guys are going to be greeted with some experiences that you're going to say what you're going to say what your authority is. You're going to communicate the different boundaries and the disciplines and the orders, and then you're going to be challenged. It's going to be like, okay, that's what you want to do, those are the walls that you want to manifest. Now we're going to see how grounded are you in those walls that you're trying to build. Seventh house dealing with the energy of justice, of fairness and balance. A lot of you guys dealing with imbalanced relationships, wanting to bring those into a balanced place. Again, like I said, Saturn is ruling over this, so these are people in your daily life, having to create some sort of balance with them, having to, balance the scales with the different contracts and bonds you got going on. More so intimate relationships than it is you in a group. Like it's like you and one other person, you and another person, you and another person. Just your personal, interpersonal relationships. Like it's time for you to hash out some boundaries, some walls, some order, different things going on in that realm. Venus is also in this Aquarian energy, bringing in that, again, manifesting things into physical, but also seeing beauty in it, beauty in the challenges, beauty in the exercising. A lot of this to do with also romantic relationships as well. If you guys have been experiencing imbalance in those relationships, is definitely going to come to the forefront of your minds and your emotions and things. A lot of these challenges are going to be emotionally triggering. And, if you're grounded in the boundaries, like I tell y'all every week, y'all need to be writing these things down. When you're writing them down, especially during the winter months, when we're in the season where everything is sitting in your throat chakra, this is the time to speak things into existence. This is the time to think things into existence. This is not the time to actually be putting your energy towards it, because your kundalini is not all the way awakened yet, especially if you guys were, doing the most during the winter solstice. Then you guys definitely got some work to do. But right now, this is the time to, all the things that don't require the actual physical action of, but like mentally, spiritually, all those different leads, getting into that space. On the masculine side, which is your outer self, again, we're talking about the tropical chart right here. So this is your thought process. So on the masculine side, as far as the experiences that you're going to receive, we're dealing with the energy of Babalue, Seker, Ta, which is power and underlying structure. We're dealing with the third sphere in the tree of life, which is manifesting and creating. You have Mercury over there, your decision making mind, different patterns. And we felt that, right? Especially with the retrograde, a lot of us experiencing patterns over again, a lot of us going through different like situations and experiences for the umpteenth time, to exercise the boundaries, to see if like you still are for, like, say I set a rule for myself, like, for now on, if I pour myself a cup of juice, can't nobody else have this cup of juice. Like, this cup of juice is for me. And then all of a sudden now it's a bunch of people coming around like, can I have some, can I have some? And it's okay, that was the boundary you put down, right? That was the bond that you made with yourself. That was the word that you created for yourself. Now how much are you going to stick to it? I'm about to send somebody that's super thirsty towards you, haven't had a drink in days. Are you still gonna stick with that boundary? I'm gonna bring somebody super aggressive that's gonna try to bully you out of it. Are you still gonna stick to that boundary? I'm gonna send your kids to you with tears in their eyes. Are you still gonna stick to that boundary? Like, that was a simple analogy, but like, hopefully, you guys hear that and it resonates with you. Like, you're going to experience these experiences, that's going to put you in spaces where you're going to have to see, like, am I really, this boundary I created, this discipline that I created, is it serving me? Is this good for me? Or is it in the way? Sometimes those things are in the way. Sometimes you're just being stubborn just to have, your way in certain things, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with going back to the drawing board and saying, okay, like, this didn't work for me, so, like, let's try something else, right? And that's the beauty of having Mercury in your root chakra right now at the moment, is the fact that, like, you're being given space to do that. you know Mercury is prograde now, and we'll talk about that momentarily, but having it in space is great. And as far as the constellations go, Mercury, your decision making energy, is still in that Sagittarius constellation, even though it's in the Capricorn zodiac. So that decision making mind, as far as like your heartfelt was going, was towards like pleasure things, like different things that you were like, oh, okay, I need some balance, I need some order, and different things I find pleasure in, the different things that I foresee myself like indulging in, stuff like that. And again, being greeted with different, things like, oh, you wanted to fast? Well, here go different opportunities you could be eating in. Like, oh, you wanted to, withstay from sex? Okay. Well, here goes a few different like moments of temptation, different things like that. Um, in addition to Mercury being on this side, on the masculine side of your root chakra, you also have Pluto over here, the energy of transformation, the energy of rebirth, right? A lot of experiences coming from that. Again, also the energy of patterns and obsessive energy at that. Um, power is going to come from, you sticking to your boundaries and your groundedness. A lot of rebirth, but that can be pretty painful, because with rebirth, some things have to do away, some things have to go away, and that can be a lot on you, especially for those of you guys who, a lot of things that are in your root chakra are things that you never want to let go of, or you didn't want to break free from. But if you want to fly, if you want to be in a better space, you're gonna have to do some things you don't want to do, right? But Pluto don't play. It's a little baby planet, but it don't play. It packs a powerful punch. That's why it's also in your solar plexus chakra. But it's not only is Pluto on the sidereal and the tropical chart are both in Capricorn energy. So whether it's in your mind or in your heart, that power play, the rebirth, all that stuff is happening in your root chakra. It's just nonstop transformation is happening here. It's okay if you have to let go of some people in your life you didn't want to let go of. It's okay if you have to set boundaries with these people. It's okay, if the relationships are transforming. It's going to be some power in that. It's going to be some rebirth in that. The sun is also, we start off the week with the sun in Capricorn energy, which is the masculine side of our root chakra, and then we end the week off with, it moving over to our feminine energy. So it's just like, okay, you had all these experiences in your root chakra, all these things, different things happen to you, and your ego has been touched. So now we're gonna go and we're gonna listen to the feelings of your ego. How does your ego feel after going through all those different things? And then we're moving, the experiences you were experiencing, and that Capricorn energy was in the fifth house, which was your childlike self, your creative self, that inner child. And a lot of the boundaries that you're creating in your space are indeed for that inner child energy, okay? And then as we move into the feminine self, now we're moving into the daily routines and your health and wellness, okay? Now we're moving into your habits and your interests. Okay, you allowed your inner child, you created the boundaries and stuff for them. So now we're going to go inward, and how is this aligning with all? How is this aligning with all of yourselves? How are we applying this on a daily routine? And that's beautiful. Now, as far as the Vedic chart goes, the sun currently is in Capricorn energy, which the sun just entered Capricorn energy I want to say on Saturday or Sunday, the sun entered Capricorn energy. My money's going on Sunday. And with the entering Capricorn energy from Sagittarius energy, again, we're going to your experiences. Your ego is experiencing, challenges. It's experiencing facing different fears and breaking free from them. Like a lot of people hear about Saturn energy and get scared, but it's not an energy to be afraid of. This is like weightlifting. Saturn is like the weightlifting energy. It's like, okay, you're speaking this, you're putting this. Now let's see how strong it is. Let's see how grounded it is. Let's see, can it test the weight? You know what I mean? And at the end of this week, the sun will still be in Capricorn energy as far as the Vedic chart goes. So we're still going to be experiencing, those challenges and things in our hearts while we're moving into, our humanitarian pursuits and how we're applying different things in our minds. And then the sixth house is also in that Capricorn energy. Your daily routine. Definitely experience it. Like, honestly, the whole story of this is right now you're creating boundaries. Summing it up. Right now you're creating boundaries. You're creating a discipline for yourself. You're creating some sense of order. The matriarch or the patriarch in your space is changing, whether this be a transformation you're experiencing at work, at home, in your business, amongst friends. There's transformations in power happening, okay? There's transformations in authority happening. And while those transformations are happening, they will be tested. They will be tested just to see how strong they are. It's like when you put on a new pair of sneakers. Immediately, what is it? You start pressing on the toe, press on the heel. You see if you can walk in them, if you can run in them, if they're flapping in the back. You got to test it out. You got to see how strong this is, how grounded this is, how supportive this is, how well this will move for you, during the days that you need it to move for you. And it's okay to go back to the drawing board if you need to. All in all, that's what's happening. And it's definitely affecting your ego, which is your external self and your experiences and how you carry yourself when you walk into a room. So that's a good space for it to affect you. It's also affecting you in your decision making mind, how you make decisions, how you see patterns, how you teach and how you learn. It's also affecting how you obtain your pinnacles, how you see beauty, your self esteem. For those of you guys who don't have boundaries, your self-esteem is still going to keep getting rocked around because you're going to keep attracting people that's going to take advantage of you. You're going to keep attracting people that's going to try to take your power because your Pluto is sitting right there. You're going to attract people that's going to try to sway your mind into thinking what they want you to think rather than what you should be thinking. And we see that all the time. If you have brain space open for certain thoughts to infiltrate, they're going to infiltrate. And then you're going to take them on as your own. You got all these people online now repeating a bunch of shit that they heard over and over again in a reel. And to the point where they don't even realize that thought doesn't even belong to them. That saying doesn't belong to you. That mind process doesn't belong to you. Somebody put that there. And you allowed it in with a faulty root chakra. You didn't create a boundary there. So that's what I have for you as far as your root chakra goes. As far as our overall root chakra goes, now what you can do is you tap into your natal chakra and you align that natal chakra with the overall root chakra and you can go from there. So we're going to pull a card for the root chakra. And again, if you guys want a reading, you just comment your name in the chat and that's what we'll do. And that'll come at the end. Ooh, we got the Four of Cups. So what says to me is there's an imbalance here. As you can see, she has her cups, but they're all over the place and she's not really doing a good job balancing them or keeping them in motion. There's a lack of stability here. There's a lack of stability here in the emotional side. So there's a lack of stability here on the feminine side of the root chakra, essentially speaking. That Saturn, that seventh house, and that Venusian energy. Find a sense of balance in those energies as far as like learning how to accept the challenges and the tribulations and the trials that your boundaries and stuff are going through, learning how to apply them to your one-on-one relationship instead of allowing it to put you into situations where you're running. And then like the self-esteem factor, like don't let the different trials and tribulations and the challenges affect your self-esteem. Like That's just there to, that's there for you. It's not happening to you, it's happening for you. So you want to be mindful of that. Also, the Three of Wands, the action card, creation, creating those boundaries. You want them to be stable. So we want to create boundaries and we want to stabilize them. All right. That's what we want to do in our root chakra. So let's move on. So our sacral chakra, which is the Svatsahana. This is where your being is established. It's actually located below the navel, above the pubic bone. It's the energy of generosity, luck, wisdom, pleasure seeking, creativity, sensual energy, and sexual energy. You guys can see all the different what do you call it, mantras and hakals and things and the notes on the piano and stuff like that if you check out my YouTube video. And the overall planet ruling over the sacral chakra is Obatala, which is Jupiter, and right now Obatala is located in Aries energy in the eighth house, ruled by Pisces. It's in the cardinal energy of Aries, so it's in the cardinal vibes. So, Jupiter is finally in the energy of new beginnings. We've been hanging out in Pisces for a very long time, and that was a beautiful alignment. Being in Pisces in the eighth house ruled by Pisces, a lot of knowledge was coming from spirit. Hopefully, you guys were meditating and fasting, and doing your due diligence during that time, especially like I said during the solstice. That was a beautiful time to really like tap into the Tahuti spirit. But now it's, what did we learn? What did we learn? How were we applying the things that we learned? How are we applying all that we've absorbed? What new beginnings are we bringing into our space? How are we allowing it to bring us power? How are we allowing it to bring us into the spiritual realm? Also knowing that, our joy is going to come from bringing new beginnings into our space and bringing our new beginnings into the space of others, right? Once upon a time, a few weeks ago, our joy and our pleasure seeking energy was coming from tapping in spirit, all things spirituality. I'm manifesting. I'm learning more about myself. I'm learning more about the cosmos. I'm learning more about this, about that, about this. And that's where a lot of people's self-esteem was aligning. Also where a lot of people's generosity and luck was aligning. And that's why I was telling people, if you're super tapped into that Aquarian energy, be careful. Remove your ego away from what it is that you're doing for other people, because if your ego is in the way and you're just doing this to pay your bills, or you're doing this to keep a certain kind of energy or a certain kind of placement in people's lives and people's minds and stuff, the universe is going to pull you out. You're going to be put in different situations and things where you're going to be forced to own yourself and get yourself back in alignment with, your humanitarian work is not above humans. It's not for you to get on your podium and start down talking people and talking about people and calling people silly and dumb and slow because they're not engaging in you, engaging in your mindset, investing in what it is that you're doing. That's not moving in alignment with, humanitarian pursuits. That's ego. All right. And you see a lot of these different spiritual influencers and spirit guides and, nutritionists and stuff that are influenced here on social media. A lot of their information, a lot of their personal business is being aired out. And that's because they're being put in positions where, hey, you in the ego with it. And that's not where it's at. So get it together. Coming back into the sacral chakra, the feminine side is ruled by Piscean energy. That's Olokun, Maya, universal love, law, balance. We're dealing with the fourth sphere in the tree of life, which is the energy of balance. Right now, we got Neptune over there, right? We have Neptune tapping into your subconscious, tapping into spirit. Spirit is telling you what to get rid of. I saw a lot of people, meditate to the point where they stopped smoking weed. I definitely went through my weed fast. I do have my weed fast in between my intermittent fasting, with food, with, beverages, with, different things. I don't really do like the big time, like I'm about to not eat for 7 days. Yeah, I'm not doing that. I respect those who do it. That's what's up. That's very extreme to me. I do, I did Ramadan last year. Most likely I'll do that again this year. That was a very empowering experience, but I'm not going 7 days without food. And I'm not drinking 5 gallons of water a day. That's just absurd to me. That's my reality. I'm not down talking anybody who does anything outside of the source because, like I said, your subconscious right now is telling you what's feeling good. People are tapped into spirit. Tap into your sacral chakra. When you tap into the sacral chakra, you're tapping into Neptune. And Neptune is literally telling you, what it is to find your joy from, what it is to get your generosity from, where you are going to get your wisdom from, where are you getting your sense of creativity from. And I love the fact that a lot of you guys are answering the call. That's so beautiful. Vesta is in alignment with Neptune. Vesta is your passion. That is your inner nun. For those of you guys who don't know about the Vestal fires, they had the Vestal fires, and the Vestal virgins were women who had to dedicate 30 years of their lives to keep the fire burning, and they had to stay virgins the whole time. And if they were not, they were stoned to death. At the same token, even though like the depths of getting fired from the job are very extreme, at the same token, these women were treated high class. They were VIPs, they were celebrities, if you will. They got special treatment. They also had the power to go into jail cells and say, "Hey, free this man and free this woman," and they would be free. They were very high ranked. You know. So Vesta energy is like your passion, like your soul passion right now. And it's beautiful that it's next to Neptune. It's near Neptune hanging out. They'll well they already had their crossover a few weeks ago, but they're still in alignment. They're still about 3 degrees apart from each other, so they're still pretty close, very close, to where that inner passion voice, is definitely in alignment with your subconscious. And so when you do get that thought in your mind, like, hey, pursue this, and you get that flush over your body at the same time, that's Neptune and Vesta working hand in hand in alignment with you. The eighth house, the house of transformation, stepping into your power, rebirth, all those things are going to come within you tapping into your subconscious with that pleasure seeking energy. As far as your outer self, like your experiences, so like inside of self, you're going through all these things. Your experiences are going to be fortune. Your experiences is going to be your fifth house. You tapping into that inner child. We talked about that last week, right? Like, it's time to let your inner child to have some discipline, but also let them take the wheel at the same token. You have to be the parent to your inner child, the parent you always wanted to have. It's your turn to be that. You are who you prayed for. Are you showing up for yourself? If you're not showing up for yourself, you need to start. You're not doing your inner child any justice. That person still exists. That person is still waiting around for the adult to come. But that fifth house, tapping into your sacral chakra, your pleasure seeking sensors and stuff, that your experience is going to be you being around your inner child, you allowing that child, that creative energy, that romantic energy to take the lead, being led by your heart, because that's what kids were led by. It was always emotions, feelings first, feelings to the most extreme level, to the point that's all they did was feel. And it's okay to be that and then find a balance. But that is where your fortune is going to lie too. So when you're tapped into this energy, you let spirit take the wheel, and spirit is speaking your inner passions to your soul, and you go ahead and dive into it. You're going to feel your inner child be happy. You're going to have better conversations with him or her. And the fortune is going to come to you. That's the mindset of just learning how to trust the universe to provide you with the things you need, right? And we're going to pull a card for your sacral chakra. Let's do that. But I'm very excited with this new beginning energy ruling over our sacral chakra. Also know, Aries energy is not no easy going energy. This is a very aggressive energy. So while, you think it's about to be all love and light and lollipops tapping into your sacral chakra, it's not. You're going to piss some people off. Just like I told you in your root chakra, you're going to come across some challenges, some tribulations, because you're creating boundaries. And I'm pretty sure if you're creating them, you were around people that did not benefit from you having boundaries. So, it's the same energy with the sacral chakra. You're tapping into spirit and you're enduring this transformation, but with rebirth comes death. That means certain things gotta go away. You're not going to keep holding on to the same things you've been holding on to. It's not going to work for you. And that Aries energy ruling over the sacral chakra, that ain't kicks and giggles. That's going to hurt. It's going to be some aggressive pushback. It's going to be some energy that's going to be like, nah, you don't get to have this. This ain't for you. Whenever you tap into spirit and you arm yourself in that kind of way, it's going to be spiritual energy moving back against you. Equal opposite energy. It's people that's hoping that you don't make it. It's people hoping that you don't tap into your subconscious. They don't even know that they hoping that for you specifically. They just hoping, you know? And you have to be mindful of that kind of energy and just be ready for it. You know? Be ready for it. It's all right. It should be something like you give yourself the 300 speech. Like, I'm finna go out here, I'm about to beat some ass. What's up? Like, that's how you gotta be at all times with your dreams, with your goals, with your aspirations, with what spirit tell you. You gotta arm that shit with a sword and a shield. You have to. Like I said, it's not no lollipops and gumdrops out here, you know. It's like, that's one thing that back in one thing I noticed about us historically is like we know how to build things, but we don't be doing too much to protect it. We be going out in the world thinking, oh, I built this shit. Ain't no equal opposite energy finna come my way and take it down. And that's when the equal opposite energy always come and take it down. You gotta learn how to protect your shit too. It's cool that y'all building things up and y'all creating and y'all manifesting, but are you protecting it? Are you taking the time out to protect those things? Ten of Swords, Jesus Christ. No, you're not. You're not taking the time to protect it at all. Um, we're gonna put the death card on this, honestly. You gotta it's some wounds in the space, it's some wounds in the sacral chakra. A lot of people's inner child, that fifth house energy, definitely got some wounds going on with it. But when you tap into that eighth house energy of transformation, pull that death card to that shit. Like, you know, I remember, just being a kid and just seeing how other kids are treated. You're kind of shamed out of that extreme emotion. You're shamed out of that. Like, why are you so happy? Why are you so giggly? Why are you so excited? Like, calm down, calm down. It was always like, why are you so much? You so extra. You so this, you so that. You're just too much. Your energy is just too much. And we want to get out of that. You don't want to keep doing that to yourself. You're allowed to be so much. You're allowed to be to this and to that. All right. Get out of all that shame energy, all the traumas, all the embarrassing moments, all the times that individuals told you was to this, so that, you know, allow yourself to be those things. Don't walk around with that energy, and that comes a lot from healing the child, heal the child. Again, walk around with your sword, your sword and shield on this energy. Like your inner child was looking for someone to protect them, you know, and you want to come back you want to be the adult. Yes, not a cups. Be the adult that that child is looking for, you know. Bring that energy to completion, that rebirth, that full cycle energy. I love that. So that's what we got for the sacral chakra. Now we're gonna move into the solar plexus chakra. So the solar plexus chakra is also called the Manipura. This is the city of jewels, and this is located in the upper abdomen, also in the middle back. This is the energy of willpower, self-expression, self-esteem, and energy. All right, we're dealing with Mars or Ogun energy. All right, and right now Ogun is in Gemini in the 10th house, ruled by Taurian energy. So you have your solar plexus chakra being rooted in community, how you communicate with other people. For those of you guys that are on Instagram, you guys can tap in on YouTube, bless nobodies, because they about to cut me off. But yeah, you could tap into your community, how you communicate with other people, local traveling, like neighborhood to neighborhood, city to city. Not nothing too crazy. But that energy is the energy of success. 10th house is the energy of aspirations and achievements. And Taurian energy bringing them pinnacles. So a lot of y'all, what this says to me is, for me, when I read this, I was like, oh, it's time to go on tour. At the same token, uh, this energy is still in retrograde for now. When we end the week, it will be out of retrograde. However, it still is. And with that energy being, it's like our Kundalini is still dormant, right? Our energy as far as how we rise, waking up, the energy of getting things done, all that different stuff. All that stuff is still rising. It's still is kind of like slow down time, and there's nothing wrong with it. Like I told y'all before, this is the time of like manifesting and speaking things into existence and really just like decision making and all those different kind of spaces. Like that's more so what it's time for. It's less time for actual doing, you know what I mean? So that's where we're at with that. Now, Aries is the feminine side of our solar plexus chakra. This is the enforcement of the celestial laws, fearlessness. We're dealing with the fifth sphere in the tree of life, which is the celestial government and administration. Now, we have Chiron over here on the feminine solar plexus chakra. And we know Chiron is the energy of our wounds, how we turn our wounds into a superpower, right? Your unfinished business, how you deal with the wounds from your past life, how you brought them into this life. Some of us, you don't hear too much, but some of us are carrying karma like, your childhood was the result of some karmic things that, you ended your last life with. And a lot of us don't give that kind of energy, but like there is no like age to karma. You could be a 1 year old, you can come out the womb. A lot of people be like, oh, that's so sad, what happened to that baby, that baby was smothered, or the baby was this, that baby was enduring something from their past life. you know the way the universe works, they don't really pay attention. They don't really care like when your birth date was. Like they don't care that you were 0 years old or you were like 2 3 months. They care about, did you get the karmic energy that you were supposed to receive. So Chiron is your wounds and how you turn your wounds into a superpower. And most likely your wounds came from a previous life or something, you know, um, from a past life, and then it's like you slowly deal with it little by little throughout your life in this realm. And it's dealing with the eighth house, which is a house of transformation and rebirth, and stepping into your power and secrets and stuff like that. So a lot of your wounds are things that you keep to yourself. A lot of your wounds are things that had to be kept as secret. A lot of things that, you know yeah, you kept a secret. And that comes from like that whole era of life where like what goes on in this house stays in this house. What's this, what's that, be quiet or whatever. But with this space, and I've seen this a lot, you guys know I don't really be tapped into like, current events like that. But I did notice like in this space and time right now, you have a few different celebrity children coming out and talking about their parents, talking about the different things they went through, the neglects and stuff like that. And that's a lot of, turning your wounds into a superpower. Like they're finally being heard, and it's giving power to other people who don't feel heard, who have not felt heard by their parents, because they're reading this and they're resonating with it. They're like, oh, I'm reading this. Oh, snaps, this be happening to me too. This is, an issue that I grew up with as well. So by people releasing their wounds and releasing, some of that karmic energy and utilizing their podiums and platforms to speak on it, I know there's some people that frown upon that and this ain't the time and place or whatever. But that's how people are providing that transformation to things that happen to them, to, the different things they had to endure. And it's providing power. It's also assisting people in finding their tribe, different people that have gone through the same thing, even if it's just a trauma bonding for now. Not all bonds are life lasting bonds. It's not that deep, but just in this moment, it's giving them the support in that space in their life that they need right now while they're expressing their wounds. And then mind you, this is all happening in Aries energy. So new beginnings is coming out of that. One thing that I appreciate that I got from my business coach was to talk about my wounds, tell my story, because you never know who needs to hear it. So, I started telling my story, and I did not realize a lot of people needed to hear my story. For those of you guys who also don't know too much about Chiron, Chiron has been in Aries since September 17th, 2018, and it will remain in Aries until October 19th, 2026. So we have a couple more years with Chiron sitting in this energy, utilizing your wounds as a superpower to create new beginnings in your space, to create transformation in your space and things like that. Um, Chiron spends about 8 years in Aries zodiac, but they usually spend about 4 years in each zodiac. And for some reason, it only spends about two in the Virgo Leo zodiac or constellation. I guess like those because it like is not just a dwarf planet that goes like in a circle, kind of goes up and down a little bit too. So that makes it sit in one zodiac longer than the other. Um, Aries is also in Aries. Aries is like the feminine Aries. It's that energy of rebellion and discord as well as activism. And the activist energy and the energy of new beginnings, that warrior like energy, that's like what like influences a lot of people to go into destructive mode, or a lot of the protests and things going on. Aries has been in Aries since 1925. So, you think about the 1920s, and the suffrage and all those different things, because Aries is also the feminine version of Mars. So it's like that woman energy, and also like thinking about other women, in other realms of life, like in business and you know in education and activism and music and creativity and all those different things. Like women are really like doing big things right now. So, and not even just like trying to include everybody and be politically correct, but just the feminine energy in all people, men and women alike, regardless of what spectrum you are on the gender scale, you know, the feminine energy is out here, cuz a lot of, men, they don't, sexual preference not included. Excuse me as I stumble across my words. But, a lot of men that are starting to tap into their feminine energy and, want to create more nurturing spaces for one another to heal, their feminine energy. A lot of them have been dealing with some grudges with their mothers and, their wives and ex-girlfriends and baby mothers and women siblings and cousins and things, and just need a space to heal so that they can heal their own personal energy instead of always running away from it or demonizing it and bullying other men for having it or showing it unapologetically and stuff like that. Like, a lot of the different spaces are coming up. They are coming out, and I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. Um, Aries will be in Aries until June 2044. So I would love to see what the feminine energy brings and what more new beginnings the feminine energy has intentions on bringing to us, right? That's like really exciting. Um, Jupiter is also over here in Aries now. We started the week off with Jupiter in Aries. Uh, right now, that's the wisdom, right? Generosity, mindset of everything. That's the energy of, overindulging. So again, coming back to that mindset of like, for those of you guys who are tapped into the humanitarian work, those of you guys who are tapped into like sitting on a podium and instructing people or influencing people or providing healing, you got to get out of your ego, man. You got to get out of your ego. Jupiter is also in that eighth house, so it's going to tell on you. It's going to tell you secrets. It's going to tell all the lies that you built your throne upon. It's going to tell on you. It's not your friend in that way that it's going to bless your mess. So if you're utilizing your space with your ego in a way, trust and believe Jupiter gonna tap that ass. um, However, if you are moving in a way of alignment, you being righteous and upfront with different things, Jupiter will bless you, and you're sitting on your power space, and the different things like your self-expression and self-esteem and your energy is going to rise with that knowledge that you're going to gain from that. Also, traveling is a big thing in that realm as well. Juno is also in this space. Juno is the energy of contracts and wounds that you carry into your space. Again, more wound like energy. These are more so wounds from of having a sense of loyalty. A lot of us are in abusive relationships. One big one definitely being our relationship with this economy in this government, or whatever it's called, corporations, capitalism, and stuff like that. The relationship that we've held on to in our homes, with our families, with friends, those different loyalties created wounds in us. And we have to communicate those wounds, name them, to call them by their name. Bring some awareness to them so you can see what it is in these bonds that's keeping you in these bonds. And once you really like narrow it down, like, oh, I'm in this because it is feeding my ego, or I'm in this because it feeds my monetary goals, or I'm in this because it gives me the attention that I want. When you really start to pay attention to what's going on in a lot of these bonds, in these partnerships, in these relationships that you find yourself being loyal to, even though you're being hurt in them, it brings a sense of awareness as far as like you can really weed out the relationships you don't need, and just start making space for the kind of relationships you do need. Start making space for those better places. But you have to remove things in order to make room for new stuff. Otherwise you're just going to be a hoarder, and that's a whole mess. um the ninth house is also on this side. The ninth house is the energy of higher education and traveling and philosophy, and just like upping yourself as far as your mindset goes, your psychological self goes. You could definitely find yourself healing psychologically with naming those wounds with that Chiron and that Juno energy, most definitely. So, you're going to get your power out of being transparent. You're going to get power from your confessions. You're going to get power from sharing your story, from your background, naming those wounds out. It's power that comes into that. Whether you sit on a podium and you say, hey, social media, like these are my wounds, or if you sit in a relationship, whether it's your best friend or a romantic partner you're pursuing or a business partnership, and be transparent with your wounds. This is what I'm healing from. This is what I'm going through. There is a power in that. It's a new beginnings in that, because you're providing those individuals that you're communicating with a new sense of energy awareness. Now, if they choose not to respect the energy that you just gave them, that's a whole different love boat. And that's also where the power comes in. That's also the new beginnings. That's that eighth house of transformation energy, honestly, because that transformation energy, because all of these celestial bodies, even though they're in Aries new beginning, they're in the eighth house, and the eighth house is ruled by Pisces. Your spirit is going to tell you, oh, okay, this person not respecting what you're saying. And sometimes spirit will stop you before you even open your mouth and say, hey, you already know, don't even waste your breath explaining yourself to this person, because you done did it this many times, or you already know this person not going to react that way. Now, if you're not moving in alignment with what your spirit be telling you, you're going to deal with a lot of resistance. It's going to manifest a lot of resistance in your space. You're going to keep going through the same things. You're going to keep going through the same emotions, patterns and behaviors. Like, that's not going to stop. It's really up to you. You got to call these things out by their names. And it's not to say, oh, this, I'm a victim and feel bad for me. No, it's a part of the process. Even if you came to me personally on some one-on-one shit as your healer, if you came to me as your healer, I would need you to confess these things. As your therapist, I need you to confess these things to me. What's going on with you? What are your triggers? When was the first time you ever felt these triggers? What did they derive from? What did they feel like? How did you conquer them then? How are you conquering them now? Do you see a similarity or a difference? Why is there a lack of growth there in how you're coping? All these different questions you have to ask yourself. You have to be transparent with yourself. That's the only way. It's the only way you're going to get the new beginning that you deserve. Is it going to feel good? No. Aries is a warrior energy. Aries is a very aggressive, assertive energy. Like I told you about the sacral chakra. Obatala is an Aries energy. That rules over your sacral chakra. So that means that when you tap into spirit with that sacral chakra energy, and you tap into all those energies we went over in the sacral chakra, it's not going to feel good. It's not going to feel good. You are at war. I want you to know that you're at war. And it's not as cut and dry as, the Pan-Africanism and the militant thing. It's not as cut and dry in that. It's as gray and as water-like as it needs to be. It's all over the place. Whenever you come into a space of healing or a new step of healing, you have to arm yourself. Are you protecting your knowledge? Are you protecting the evolution of your psyche? Are you protecting the evolution of your spirituality? It's dope if you're building it. It's dope that you're manifesting it. It's dope that you're transforming it. Are you protecting it as well? because there's always going to be an equal opposite energy that's going to stress it. It's going to come. It's inevitable. And all this Aries energy here is reminding you that it's going to come. The stress tests are going to come. Are you ready for them? Are you grounded? Have you been so transparent with your wounds and your triggers and your karmic energy? Are you being transparent with yourself so that when you're tested and triggered, you're not over there emotionally reacting? You actually can be like, oh, let me take a step back because I know why I'm really triggered. And it's not because you said what you said or you did what you did. It's because it reminds me of this instant or that instant where shit really did hurt my feelings. But now I'm present. I'm not in that space no more. I'm present now. So you're not going to trigger me now. That's a sense of groundedness you should have. That's a sense of emotional intelligence you should have because it's going to be tested. Like for those of you guys, obtaining your sovereignty, going privatizing yourself. That's a big one. You arm yourself with all this knowledge. You done manifested all these things. You got the trust. You got the EIN number. You read through the UCC code. Da 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 da. Not prepared to be tested while you driving out there with that license and with the license plate. Prepare to be tested when you get on that plane with that passport. Prepare to be tested when you go into spaces and they ask for your ID. You're going to be tested. Now, what are you going to do with these tests? Are you going to act out? Are you going to allow yourself to be triggered because that one time when you were a public citizen, you got arrested or you watched other people get arrested or da 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 da? Not have you been completely transparent with your triggers, the emotional triggers, the psyche triggers that you have that you're going to be carrying into your sovereignty with you? Because if so, you're going to get yourself in trouble. You're going to get yourself in a lot of trouble. You have to learn how to protect yourself. Those are different analogies that I can make. You make whatever parallels you want to make with them, but those are the ones I can come up with. I hope they were good enough. um, but yeah, we can get into the masculine side of your solar plexus chakra, dealing with Oya, Harakuhudi, which is the enforcement of law, courage, and fearlessness. We're dealing with the fifth sphere of the tree of life, which is the enforcement of celestial government administration. And we start the week off with the moon in Oya. Your emotions, your feelings sitting in your solar plexus chakra. Some of you guys started Monday off feeling like energized. The Kundalini was awakened. It was awoken, ready to set off the week to a good note, ready to sit in your power with things. Some of you guys having emotional experiences to the wounds that you're supposed to be communicating on your feminine side. Nothing wrong with it. It's all right. You can't hide from it. The fourth house also being in that area over there, and the fourth house is dealing with the energy of excuse me, is dealing with the energy of home and family. That's that Cancer energy, creating nurturing spaces. When you become transparent with that energy, when you become transparent with those wounds and different things, nurturing spaces will arise. And nurturing conversations will arise. Is that to say that all of the conversations and things are going to be love and light and clouds? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that things will be manifested by you being upfront, honest, and transparent about the different traumas and the different chips on your shoulder that you're harboring. It's time to be transparent, y'all. It's confession time, that's all. And it's so opening. Like, I will admit, when I wrote my story, I was scared at first because in my experience, a lot of my story deals with a lot of my child abuse. I was physically abused and I was sexually abused as a child. And a lot of some of the people that was quiet about my abuse, they're still around in my family. They come around me all the time. And they knew about the abuse, and I was holding a chip on my shoulder because in my mind, you guys were the adults that were supposed to help me. You guys were the adults that were supposed to save me. Y'all was supposed to have enough sense to be like, oh, this girl putting her hands on this child. Like, if y'all didn't want to beat her ass, at least y'all could have got me out that house. Like, I felt like, if I had a niece, and I knew that somebody was mistreating her, I would make moves, like, no questions asked. I'm not thinking about it, and I'm not debating with nobody's parents because that's just not how my heart moves. I don't give a fuck. If you're not doing your job, I'm gonna do it for you. I'm not gonna talk bad about you, but I'm gonna do it for you. And that's just who I am as a person. And I just had to learn that not everybody think like me, even though how I feel like how I think should be how everybody should think. That's the Virgo energy, man. I'm a Virgo stellar. But I be trying to, so when I wrote my story, I was still sad, I was still scared because, whenever try to talk about things that happened to me, I always get that hush hush energy. Be quiet. I don't, don't talk about it. Let's not talk about it. I don't really want to hear it. Or it'll be a hurry up in defense, like, oh, that happened because I was this or I was that or whatever. And it just be like, well, dang, like when do I get to tell my story and actually be heard without y'all hushing me? So when I finally did it, I talked about it in detail, never talked about it in so much detail before. And I got the conversations I thought I was going to have. Some of them were surprising. Some people, made my trauma about them or were mad at me because I didn't, speak up. And then some people were like, you should write a book. And then some people were like, reading about what happened to you healed me. It makes me want to be more transparent about my story. And it was just like, just so many different responses. Like, first of all, that was the most read blog I ever had. And I kind of felt some type of way because I write about cosmos all the time. And it's the one time I tell all my business, which is not something easy for a Virgo to do. The one time I tell all my business, that's when everybody reads it. And I felt some type of way. I was kind of angry because I felt like people just wanted to trauma bond with me or people just wanted to hear my business. But then that was another trigger I had to learn to be transparent with myself about too. You know what I mean? So it was just like a lot of moments of transparency, of like, paying attention to like my traumas and triggers and out of everybody's response to my traumas and triggers. That was a whole nother thing in itself. And it's still something that I'm still learning and sitting in my solar plexus chakra about and trying to, learn how to absorb and apply and all that fun stuff. But that's where I'm at with it. Just a little insight about self. But we could pull a card for our solar plexus chakra. Nine of Cups. Again, coming out of our ego. It's okay that we're complete. It's okay that we have it all together. Like that part is cool, but you got to come out of your ego with it. You got to like really tap into that inner child, creating those different spaces and realms and things and coming into your triggers. Triggers aren't always like, oh, this made me mad or whatever, but triggers can also be what brings you back into that survival mode, what brings you back into that coping mechanism. For some of you guys, a lot of your egos are your coping mechanisms. If I look like I'm too good or I'm too great for something, it'll build my power. It'll create my throne for me. And that's cool. It's kind of fraud. So, be mindful of that. Queen of Swords. Standing up behind the traumas. But yes, finding power in our traumas. Speaking on that Chiron and utilizing that to be your sword and shield. A lot of your traumas you'll find are your superpowers. They are, a muscle, while you were so busy thinking, oh, why did this happen to me? I don't deserve this or whatever. It happened to you so you can experience this, so you can be able to do that. So, utilize that as your sword and shield. Now we can move on to the heart chakra. The heart chakra is the anahata. It means unstruck, unhurt, and unbeaten. It's located in your mid chest between the shoulder blades. It's the energy of self esteem, love, wealth, wisdom, and compassion, empathy, and forgiveness. On the feminine, well, let's talk about what rules overall. Is Oshun, which is an Aquarian energy, that root chakra energy sitting in our heart chakra. Sitting in the sixth house, Capricorn. So utilizing your heart chakra, letting your feelings and your emotions, but also those boundaries, right? The boundaries of Aquarian energy, the boundaries that are created with that feminine side of your root chakra. Creating that infrastructure, that rulership. That was like when I said coming back to your inner child and learn how to create some sort of law, enforce some sort of discipline to that child, to that inner child. You have to be the adult your inner child was looking for. That's a big thing. That's a big deal. We got to move towards that. That's a big goal to have. And applying it to our daily routine, our health and our wellness self. you know. On the feminine side of our heart chakra, you have that Oshun energy, which is alignment with Het Haru, the Kundalini. This is the energy of the sensual forces, the seventh sphere, and the tree of life. Celestial workers design. We have Uranus over here in Taurian energy. Excuse. How about you? Just sit right here. There we go. Yeah, so we have Uranus over here. Uranus is the energy, this is like the progressive energy. This is the energy that forces you to change the way you are doing things, how you're going about doing things. Uranus is also energy that's associated with your individuality. Um, Trying like innovative approaches to things, trying things over, trying things new. And a lot of that is in your feelings. Try something new, try something different. Like I said, it's okay to go back to the drawing board and be like, okay, this didn't work for me, maybe this is going to work for me instead. All the different stuff, it matters. The true node is also in Oshun. The true node is like, okay, so if you're utilizing your natal chart, if you want to find like your soul tribe according to the Kabbalah, you want to like look through your true node, and your true node will tell you like who your soul tribe is in this life. And you'll notice that when you talk to these individuals, you'll see like really dope parallels of like your life experiences and the different lessons and stuff. That's if you're in alignment. Some of you guys might have the same denials as well. It's really up to you. But that's what the true note is. It's like your soul's destiny. And right now, like the destiny of all of us at this on this cosmic level is all about like tapping into your heart chakra, your emotions. Your heart chakra is also the balance beam chakra. This is the one that's in the middle between your higher and lower self. So finding a balance between your higher and lower self. I know a lot of people, and myself, about 10 years ago when I first started my spiritual journey, when I started discovering the higher self, it made me feel like I had to do away with my lower self altogether. Like there could be no remnants of lower self at all. However, that's not true. Both sides make up me, and I have to learn how to accept all those things. See what was happening there, whereas when I thought I was in alignment with the cosmos, um, you're not supposed to be in alignment. You're supposed to rise above. But that was feeding my perfectionist energy. Oh, my lower self is not perfect. My lower self is where my triggers are. That's where my addictions are, my desires I suppress about myself and repress because society, which is not me, not my inner will, but society's will, has taught me these things are frowned upon. And that's why, like we talked about the root chakra earlier, it's time to go back into your root chakra and really like be transparent with yourself. A lot of these things in your brain you didn't put there. Last week I was all about the four agreements because I had just read the book, so it was fresh in my brain. And but yeah, you came into this world with some agreements, you know, and if you're not in alignment with them, you're gonna come across a lot of different things. You're gonna find yourself out of alignment with your subconscious, with your inner child, with the different versions of yourself, whether they be your past selves or your present selves or your future selves. Like it's gonna be a lot of disalignment happening, and catastrophic events happen when you're not in alignment. You keep attracting things that make your soul scream. So yeah, soul destiny. Listen to your heart. Come into that balance of the higher and lower self. Don't be afraid to be progressive. Don't be afraid to go back to the drawing board and erase things. We're removing the perfectionist energy, most definitely. And the 10th house is also on the side. So this is where aspirations and achievements, you being your best self in the eyes of society, is going to come from you tapping into this energy. So like it works out for you. It works out for you to be in such an alignment. Is it going to be easy? No. Is it going to be sacrifices? Yes, because like I said, it's a lot of things that society put in your mind and in your heart that you just adopted and always thought was your thoughts and what you always just thought was right, and it's not true. It's a lot of transparency, a lot of honesty that's going to have to happen with self. Um, Now, while all that's going on in the feminine side of you, as far as your experiences go with your knowledge, We're dealing with Ova, which is Net Het, Kundalini, sensual forces. Same energy as Het Haru, the seven spheres, celestial workers, and design, because we know the heart chakra is all about beauty. Um, we have Ceres over here. Now, Ceres is a dwarf planet that deals with like agriculture and nurturing and nurturer and like mom and daughter relationships, like, maternal type vibes, the lineage there. If you want to get into that with your natal chart, it does tell you the life of yourself as a mother or a daughter, your relationship with mothers and daughters in your life. And then you can also get into your draconian chart to see, what energy led to this present energy with your maternal energy, for those of you guys who are healing your maternal selves, because this is sitting in the heart chakra. Some of you guys have got to heal the maternal energy in yourselves. You didn't receive the maternal parent you thought you deserved. You weren't the maternal parent you thought you deserved for yourself or for other people. You have to learn how to forgive. Forgive, forgive, forgive. And when I say maternal, a lot of us think of a woman, and it doesn't have to be in a woman form. Some of you guys were raised by single fathers. Some of you guys were raised by grandparents, aunts, and uncles. Like, it's the maternal energy, period. It wasn't received. It wasn't reciprocated. It wasn't, respected, or it was, or maybe it was too much. Maybe it was too suffocating to the point where you don't trust yourself now, without, having to call on somebody for confirmation. All those different things. Also, Ceres also deals with agriculture, like I was saying, planting the seed. Some of you guys making the decision to grow your own, herbs, or your own, fruits and vegetables and things like that. This is also a vibe coming out of the heart chakra, different experiences you may experience. Um, in addition to that, we also have the ascendant energy. So your overall self, your mask of yourself, how you want to look at the world and how you want the world to look at you, and goals and projects and things like that, are also sitting in your heart chakra right now. So some of you guys, some of your emotions are definitely leading the way with you, for you, and that's okay. That's really dope. The heart chakra is also a space of wealth and wisdom. So, coming into a space where you're being more aware of your energy and the energy you expect from others, and, being willing to, go through those fresh starts and new beginnings, with your heart and things like that, that'll put you in a good space. In addition to that, we also have the third house here. Third house is the house that deals with communication and transportation, your habits and your interests. This is the Abeji twins, or the Gemini house. Siblings, social activity, the mind thinking, devices. Also, a lot of you guys, posting your different emotions and things on your communication devices. That's also in alignment, believe it or not, the third house sitting in that Oba, or you're attracting other people speaking their emotions, on these talking communication devices, whether it be them utilizing their social media platform, or it might be them sending it in a text message, something more personal in your messages or whatever. But a lot of the dialogue is happening, and it's going to keep happening, especially if you guys, are really tapping into creating those new boundaries for self and communicating those with people, or tapping into your sacral chakra and being honest about your joy and allowing your subconscious to lead the way with assisting your transformation in things you find joy and pleasure in. A lot of us have been indulging in unhealthy habits. Let that Neptune energy and that Vesta energy guide you away from that. Then, your solar plexus chakra, having new beginnings in so many different spaces in your life. All that, adds up to this third house over here. These experiences in your community and how you communicate and stuff like that. So let's pull a card for the heart chakra. The Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands. Being binded. Being binded, definitely. Being binded is a big thing with the heart chakra, because, like I was saying earlier, a lot of us have been taught. So the heart chakra also deals with Leo energy. Okay. The Leo deals with the fifth house. That's your inner child. And like I was talking about earlier, when they were like, oh, we've been shamed out of our inner child so much. So the point where we don't even realize it. And we automatically sometimes do it to our children. Sometimes we don't realize it. But it's all that, you're too excited. You're too happy. This is too much energy. You're doing too much. You're so, your emotions are always so big. And so we've been taught to bind our hearts. bind that balance, bind that heart chakra so that it's not too much of anything. We don't want to be too much of anything. In my era of growing up, what was always repeated to me is a young woman should be seen and not heard. And eventually it was like, you shouldn't be seen either. Go sit down somewhere. So, like, and that was a big thing with me because, like, I'm a Leo rising. My heart chakra leads the way. The first letter of my name is a U, my emotions on my sleeve. So I've always been too much. I've always been too this, too that, too big, my emotions too everything. And now I have sons whose emotions are just as big as mine. And coming out of that, generational curse of telling my children, bro, your emotions are too big. You're doing too much. I want them to be allowed to feel their feelings and be able to decipher through them and feel through them without feeling the need to numb themselves or go into like coping mechanisms because they fear that their feelings is too of anything or so much of anything, different stuff like that. So, that's something that, I try to subconsciously do for me and mine, or whatever. That's something that you can keep in mind for yourself. Like, be mindful of how you bind your heart chakra, how you are holding it back and closing it. Definitely, because like the Ace of Wands is in reverse too. So that's showing that there's a bit of slowdown in the movement of unbinding that. You just, have a little conversation with your heart. There's not wrong with it. Peace, peace. Thank you for coming in. Now we're gonna get to the throat chakra. So the throat chakra is called the Vishuddha, which is pure element. In this round, we're dealing with not just the throat. The throat chakra also deals with your mouth, your tongue, your neck, ears, thyroid, parathyroid, expression, communication, invocation, integrity, and morals. As far as the feminine, well, let's go over Mercury because Eshu rules over the throat chakra. So the overall ruling energy over our throat chakra, like I said, we started the week off with Mercury in retrograde, and we'll get into that a little bit more in detail soon. But we started the week off with Mercury in retrograde, slowing down our throat chakra, giving us time to, catch up in all of our other chakras where we were moving forward still. We had the sacral chakra that was moving forward, the root chakra, and our third eye chakra was moving forward as well. So, giving us space to be in those chakra places, really giving eyesight and ear sight to knowledge, manifesting boundaries, getting tapped into our heart chakras, being tapped into, the different parts of our bodies that don't require actual doing, you know. Um, Also, the throat chakra being in retrograde gave us, opportunities to rehash different experiences, different decisions that we made throughout our journey, just to make sure that like these are decisions and different things that we want to stick to, that we're comfortable with the outcomes of them, how they're going, and things like that. This is again in alignment with our fifth house. That's our inner child, right? Having those conversations with our inner child. I also love that, this energy is and the Capricorn, communicating things from our root chakra, communicating those challenges and those fears and the communicating the structure and the bonds that we wanted. Again, coming back to what I was telling y'all. You got to be the disciplinarian for that inner child, but also allow that inner child to take the wheel. The past few weeks while Mercury was in Capricorn in the fifth house, I've been communicating with you guys about writing letters to the different versions of self, creating those bonds, also learning how to create forgiveness amongst all of you within you, because you're all of those. Like, I'm 32. That means that there's 32 of me inside of me, and even more than that, you know? So these 32 people inside of me, I got to have conversations with. I gotta let them know that they heard too and they seen too. The 20-year-old me, her dreams and aspirations, the 25-year-old me, the 30-year-old me, the 15-year-old me, the 8-year-old me, the 2-year-old me, they all have dreams and aspirations. They all have desires. They all have a voice, and they all matter, and they all been waiting on me. So what am I doing in the present to give them the attention that they deserve, to give them the guidance that they deserve, the discipline and the order, all those different things like that? What am I doing? You got to have those kind of conversations. And again, with it being in retrograde, peace. This is the planetary forecast. I do this every week. But yeah, if you guys tap into that energy as far as like learning how to communicate your boundaries and, when you guys were going through the different things during the retrograde, having the ability to stop thinking that things are happening to you and you're just being dragged through all these different things, but having the empowerment that, okay, this is an opportunity for me to show my muscle, to show how grounded I am in this new self law or this new self anything. That's important. But yeah, so coming into and also just to remind you guys on the sidereal chart, the Vedic chart, Mercury was still in Sagittarian energy. We still were exercising our philosophies, our mindset, and all those things like that. Getting into the feminine side of our throat chakra, we're dealing with the Abeji twins. This is associated with Sebek, opposing forces, left brain, celestial text. The A sphere, which is the sphere of labeling, and for those of you guys who love Metu Netter as much as I do, that is the sphere where man's ill lie, where we are the most imbalanced because we're always labeling things and not unifying them very well. Mars is in Gemini at the moment. Mars rules over our solar plexus chakra. So speaking power into yourself, definitely. Speaking into your powerful self, speaking life into, your assertive self, your warrior like self. Remember what I told y'all? Y'all know how to build, y'all know how to manifest, but are you protecting? Speak your protections out. Okay. And then for those of you guys who didn't know, Mars was also in retrograde for a little bit, and we'll get into that in a moment as well. The 11th house is also in this space, and this house helps you to remember the purpose of your work and your humanitarian pursuits, speaking those into existence. What do you want to give back to humanity? What do you want to give back to the universe? A lot of us, we're always praying to take, 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 take. I manifest abundance. I manifest peace. You just always take, 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 and taking. But what are you giving back? What are you putting back into the soil? Are you putting back out into the cosmos? What sounds are you putting out there? Are you putting out sounds of doubt and hate and violence? Or are you putting out sounds of positivity? Are you putting out sounds of peace? Every sound you make matters because someone somewhere is hearing it. Even the sounds from your mind, not just the ones that come out of your throat, right? Also, this house helps to broaden your reach as you define your role within society. Groups, friends, social awareness, hopes and wishes, electronic media coming back. So utilizing, different electronic platforms with that Mars energy, that energy of new beginnings, that warrior like energy, all those different things. The communication is definitely there for it to occur. Now, on the masculine side, as far as experiences that your throat chakra are going to experience, they're actually going to experience them in the second house. The second house being the energy of personal finances, material possessions, concept of value, work ethic, your job might be switching out because of what this Mars energy brings to you in your spirit, or because of what the 11th house, your humanitarian pursuits, what you want to give back to society. It might switch up your job. It might switch up how you behave in the workplace, how you obtain your pinnacles, your priorities, your habits, how you interpret, the sensations of your five senses may also change with all these things occurring with the Mars, new beginnings in the 11th house of your, humanitarian work and stuff like that. So that's pretty exciting for some of you guys, having, changes in your job and stuff. It's okay if you've been at the same job for 30 years or you're 1 week away from retirement and your spirit is just like, nah. It's all right because, like I said, Mercury is in Capricorn energy. Mercury is in your root chakra. So as your throat chakra is really sitting in that root chakra, creating boundaries and creating new infrastructure and discipline, yeah, like your work ethic is going to change. Like your priorities are going to change. Peace, love, all that stuff is going to experience some level of transformation. So we can pull a card for your throat chakra. For those of you guys that are tapped into Instagram, you can always move your way to YouTube so you can see the full presentation. Instagram is kind of like my backstage. You guys don't get to see like the PowerPoint, but my YouTube page is less nobody's. Ooh, we got the Queen of Wands. Some of you guys using your throat chakra to take advantage of others. Also being mindful if you're the one that's being taken advantage of in this space and time. Again, like I said, like this labeling era, throat chakra is usually where man's ill lie because we talk a lot. A lot of us don't really listen too well. We talk a lot with the energy of responding, which is why it's cool that Mercury was in retrograde for a little bit, kind of teaching us how to slow down with the decision making, learning how to listen and not listen to respond. You know, those are big things. You know, you want to be mindful of that. Also, we got the reverse Seven of Cups. Again, that energy I said, you know, you're always talking about manifest this, manifest that, gimme, gimme, gimme. But what are you communicating to give back? That's the big thing. Like, what are you communicating to give back to the universe? What are you trying to, you know, bring back to it? And just be mindful of that. Now we can move on to the third eye chakra. This is the ajna, which is command beyond wisdom. This is located between the eyebrows. It's the energy of polarity, the inner outer self, intuition, mind, energy center, foresight. Right is the creative and spiritual side hemisphere of your brain, and the left is the logical and rational hemisphere of your brain. And then also imagination. And then you can, you know, read more to see the light element and the notes and the calls and the vowel sounds and all that fun stuff. Now the sun is Haru, and that's over, you know, right now. Like I said, that's in the root chakra. You know, we're going from, you know, Capricorn to Aquarian energy this week. Going from the masculine experiences of the root chakra to our ego and going into the emotional higher root chakra feels, learning to apply it to your everyday routine kind of energy. And then the moon or all set, we're starting off in that transformation energy, transformation in your communication, transformation in your interests, in your habits, in your community, you know, your immediate community, like your siblings and your neighborhood and stuff like that. And we're moving it into, and all that transformation is occurring to create balance. We got to see that Libra energy ruling over that third house right now. And then we end the week. So we end the week with the sun and the moon just like chilling in Aquarian energy together. And I think that's really fly. We'll get into that momentarily. But yeah, so we end the week with the moon sitting in that rebellious energy, that, you know, activist energy, your emotions be in alignment with your ego as far as like, yeah, it's time to, you know, create some type of social detachment, breaking some traditionals by next week. Some traditions are going to be broken up that are going to apply to your daily routine and some of the boundaries that you had going on. So kudos to you guys, see yourself in alignment within the next 7 days, right? The feminine side of your third eye chakra is all set. That's Yamoja. This is the energy of awareness of depth of being, learning, healing, nourishing, and trance. We're dealing with the ninth sphere in the tree of life, which is worldly events in the divine womb. Peace, peace. Pallas is over here. Now, Pallas is another dwarf planet. That deals with like your genius qualities, your like your strategic, like whenever I think of Pallas, I think of chess, like your strategic way of going about things, problem solving and stuff like that. You know, the different qualities of self you overlook. And we got into this heavy last week, right? Because it was so much energy in the Yamoja side of your third eye. We just know that when you manifest, well, not when you manifest, when you meditate, you're going to be coming into some suppressed energy about self. All right. Coming into some suppressed spaces about self, who you are, some energy you've been trying to do away with. Again, like remember what I told you, a lot of the stuff that you have in your root chakra, a lot of stuff that's sitting in your throat chakra stuff, or things that don't belong to you. These are different agreements that were placed upon you by society that are not in alignment with your will and what you were sent here to do. So you have to have that, you know, go into meditation, tap into that palace energy. Those are different qualities about yourself you've learned to suppress and oppress. You know, you've learned to overlook them about yourself. Like, oh, these ain't that big a deal. These ain't that important. Why? Because when you were a child, they told you that those dreams weren't real. That wasn't realistic. Those aren't things that you should strive to have. That's not what the business market is saying. The business market is there to influence people to get into certain businesses. It's like the stock market of businesses. If I want a certain field to increase, I'm going to create certain situations to make that field increase so that I can make money accordingly, because that's where I invested my money at. Don't be fooled by that shit. That's a game. That's social control. So don't let nobody tell you, what's more lucrative and what's less lucrative and all that different stuff. Also, your middle heaven is also in this space. So being tapped into this space gives you an alignment with your public image. Who are you in the face of others? Again, coming back to that awareness, like all the different ways you are oppressed or showed through society, like this ain't what you want, that ain't what you want, whatever. Coming into meditation, you're gonna come into those certain realizations. These things was taught to me. These things were fed to me. This isn't necessarily who I am and what I want out of life. The 12th house is also over here. The 12th house is like dreams and secrets and emotions, karmic relationships, endings, healing, closure, spirituality, solitude, karma. Also, you can tap into your afterlife, all these different things. Hidden agenda, secret enemies, and a lot of that comes when you actually listen to your third eye. Yeah, go ahead. All those things come from tapping into your third eye, actually taking the time to meditate. Those things come to the forefront of your mind, so like you will no longer have to go through all the emotions of all you won't have to seriously. You won't have to go through all the emotions of like creating a safe space, playing some sound, lighting incense up and different things like that. Scooby! He just likes to hear his voice. Once you start barking, you to unlearn everything you learn. I don't understand the science behind certain things that people do. But okay. But yeah, you won't have to go through all the motions. You'll be able to like go into situations. Your third eye is so accustomed to communicating with you that like your third eye automatically becomes like activated. Like I could be here talking to you right now and be in meditative state. You know what I mean? If the goal is to be like so in tune with self in your third eye that your third eye feels comfortable enough to communicate with you on that level all the time. And you be having them feelings. It's just a matter of you learning how to trust yourself. You've been taught not to trust yourself, not to trust the voices in your head, not to trust your discernment, not to trust, those, different things you got going on. When you learn to trust and also forgive yourself for the lack of trust that you had, those are big things too. Now we can get into the masculine side, which is dealing with Heru or Orunmila. This is will, courage, discipline of the upper and lower self, the sixth sphere in the tree of life, maintained through coordination and balance. The celestial government is administrating. Scooby is in his throat. Yes. His voice just started getting deeper, and he thoroughly enjoys making noise. Like once somebody puts him in his vibe, he don't stop. And he just be over there playing with his throat chakra. You'll hear him growling. He start playing around with octaves and shit. It's the whole thing that he does. That's why I hate when he gets started, especially at night. It's always so crazy at night. Lilith is on the masculine side of our third eye chakra at the moment, and Lilith is our repressed energy. This is like the different things that you learn to repress about yourself because you've been taught that, you literally been taught that society doesn't like this. And whenever you see it being exhibited in someone around you, it's triggering because you've taught yourself that you shouldn't exhibit this energy. So how dare someone else come into your space and exhibit this energy? And this is also like the energy you come towards, like, okay, remember I told you, with the solar plexus chakra, really be transparent with your triggers. It's time to like really have these transparent conversations with yourself. When you go into that meditative state, yeah, Scooby not that big. Scooby's still a puppy. He just his throat dropped, but he's really tapped into his ethers. But yeah, when you tap into like the Lilith energy, you really get, sucked into like, those different triggers of self. Like I was telling you with the solar plexus chakra, be very transparent with yourself and your triggers and your wounds and stuff. It's confession time. It's time for a certain level of transparency with self, especially as we're preparing ourselves to walk into Aries energy. Aries, the sun enters Aries zodiac energy in March, mid-March, but the sun doesn't enter Aries constellation until April 15th. So you have time to, really tap into, the new beginnings energy of self, and you got a good 3 more months, to have these conversations with self and become transparent and allow that energy, your solar plexus, before the sun enters it and really awakens that energy. Do the work. Do the work. You know, we are still in the times of the shadows. It's still winter time. It's still darkness. The Kundalini has not fully risen. And in order for it to do that, you still got to fast and do everything anyway. Like a lot of you guys realize that y'all didn't fast when y'all was supposed to. So I see why a lot of people are compelled to do a 7-day water fast or a 3-day water fast or whatever right now, because they weren't living righteously during the solstice. It was always, oh, I do whatever I want. Don't shame us out of our holiday. Okay, well, now look at you. Your spirit knows you need to play catch up. So you're having a random ass fast in the middle of January when you should actually already be in the custom of fasting and intermittent fasting, and actually like really tapping into your meditative state. Your meditative state should be like how I was saying, to the point where you can walk in a room and your third eye is having conversations with you, instead of you having to play frequencies and music and light candles and have this whole ambiance in order for your third eye to be like, oh, all right, I'll talk to you now. Like, you shouldn't have to do all that. You can do that every now and then if you want, but you shouldn't have to do all that all the time. It should be to a point now you can walk into a space and your third eye be like, yeah, nah, this ain't it, or yeah, this is where you should be at. you know but you have to have those moments of transparency with yourself first. Transparency means you got to admit all the times you didn't listen to yourself, all the times you underestimated your power, all the other times you saw other people walking in their power and how it was triggering to you because you wasn't in your own power, shit like that. Like, all that shit matters. But Lilith, is definitely going to be the experiences you experience. You're going to come across people that did what they were supposed to do when they were supposed to do it, and you didn't do what you were supposed to do. So now you got to watch other people be in the spaces that you deserve to be in. And is that to say that you missed your bus? No, you still deserve to be there. However, you didn't do what you're supposed to do. So get it done so that you could be there. These moments are going to be triggering to you if you're not in alignment still and you're still not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Then you're going to be upset. Or you could be like, you know what? I'm empowering myself and I'm getting it. And I'm going to be there next. Watch. And you're going to move how you're supposed to move. Right? The first house is also in this energy. The first house is your overall appearance. A lot of y'all wearing your third eye on y'all sleeves. Like I said, it should get to a point where you walk into a space and your third eye starts speaking. Is this to say that everybody whose third eye is open is a part of your tribe? No. We always been tribal folks. This national shit is new. Racism is new. Y'all know I've been talking about racism. I can't stand it. All that stuff is new. We always been tribal. Now, if your tribe don't deal with certain races, that's your tribe. Some tribes do deal with all races. Some tribes love everybody. Some tribes like to be on that I can't help who I love shit. Some tribes like to be on some it's only us or else. Some tribes like to be on that, well, we're the Hamites from Africa. We're subjected from Pan-Africanism. And some tribes is like, nah, we're the Shemites, and this is our land. Some tribes is like, no, we're the defendants of Yafet, and we cool with, intermingling with races, and it's different tribes on different things. You gotta find your tribe. Your third eye is not gonna link you with everybody that got their third eye open. That's not real life. And I think that's a lot of misconceptions people come to. That's because a lot of y'all be trying to do away with y'all lower selves. You can't do away with your lower self. Your lower self is what's going to help you find your tribe. Because right now we're in the lower self world. We're in the physical world. So you got to find your tribe. You're an electromagnetic being. So if you do away with all of that, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice. Don't do that. Put your third eye on your sleeve so you can find the people that are for you. And if you don't, it's going to be triggering when you find people, when you start seeing people in alignment with each other, certain people being open and honest about their third eye, their subconscious level, and where they're at, utilizing themselves or their platform to really speak and allowing that to take them places that you feel like you deserve to go. You're not going to get there if you're not putting in the work. And it's not easy. Remember, I told you all these are Aries placements and this warrior like energy and Saturn placement. That it's not easy. It's not easy here. It's not easy here. Trust. We over here getting our ass beat. They make it look pretty, but it's not easy here. My tribe is a vibe and a frequency. Ashe. It surely is. So let's pull a card for this third eye. Oh, I pulled two cards for the third eye. We got the reverse Empress card showing, a little friction, little frazzle, and the Emperor card. Ooh, so this is a combined masculine and feminine energy, which I like because yes, all skin folk is not kinfolk. I love this because this is a beautiful alignment of the Cancer and Leo energy. And this just goes to show, like, when it comes to the Leo energy, the masculine side of self, we are in alignment. People are moving to that space as far as allowing their subconscious to create their experiences and the different things outside of self. So kudos to you guys that have been in alignment with that Leo energy, showing that discipline of upper lower self and different things like that, and really tapping into your Lilith. And I do see that a lot of y'all doing the shadow work, and that's a beautiful thing. And a lot of y'all showing y'all subconscious on y'all third eye. I follow a lot of spiritualists and stuff that's really been on that type time. At the same token, on that feminine side, that Cancer side, your Moja, we got a reverse card here. So that means that there's still some work to be done on that Palace energy. A lot of you guys overlooking that energy, your genius qualities, how you strategize. Again, let's come into that space I was telling you before. Like, I love the fact that y'all manifesting and y'all bringing things to fruition. But how are you protecting these things? How are you protecting these nurturing spaces? How are y'all protecting y'all farms? How are y'all protecting the tribe that's on their pathway of sovereignty, or privatizing themselves and stuff like that? How are you guys, providing them with safe spaces that they need and stuff to keep doing what they're doing? How are you providing safe spaces for these healers, these medicine people and things like that? Are you guys assisting? And right, dope, double accurate pull. That was really fly. Are you guys creating, safe spaces for the healers? Are you guys creating safe spaces, for the protectors and the teachers and things like that? It's village building time, honestly. But however, if you want people to pull these, qualities out of themselves, you have to be willing to pull these qualities out of yourself as well. But I really want y'all to focus on that part of yourselves, because it's very important. Like, being focused on, like, things that you overlook about yourself. Again, having those very, like, transparent conversations with yourself, allowing your wounds to, like, be on the outside of you, to really talk through them. It's not going to be pretty when you first begin. It's not. It's going to hurt, because it's like, when you take the scab off of a wound and it's a little too early, it still kind of hurt. At the same token, it's what you need. Sometimes what you need for that new skin to come up. But that's what I have. When we get into the crown chakra, y'all know we get into the 1,000-petal lotus. This is located at the crown of the head, the consciousness. We're doing thoughts, wisdom, awareness, connection to the universe, serenity, seeing beauty in all things, enlightenment, beauty, the cosmos element. So we're talking about all the planetary placements here, circular half moon. We get into the G note. For those of you guys who are tapped into Instagram, the full video is on YouTube, Less Nobodies, in the universe. So we could pull a card for the crown chakra too. Oof, the Magician. And we got the Magician in reverse. And that's a lot, so because that feminine side of the crown chakra was in reverse. So that just means that it's more work to be done. Before you could balance all the elements and get to the crown chakra, it's some, chakra we just gotta like tweak them a little bit. It's time for you guys to really tap into your meditative state. That was where I seen us pull, like, the majority of those reverse cards, and also tapping into your heart chakra. big things for yourselves. But yeah, so let's get into the weekly forecast. So last week we dealt with Mars going in prograde. That was on January 12th. That was around 4:22 in the morning, which was pretty exciting. Mars was stationary all night. That's the positions that Mars was in throughout the night, prior to it going prograde. So now we have a prograde Mars in Gemini in the 10th house, the 10th house being ruled by Taurian energy. So you can feel a lot of, for some of you guys, like I'm an earth sign, I'm a heavy earth sign. I got my sun, moon, Mercury, and Venus all in Virgo, and then my Neptune, Uranus, and Jupiter. No, not Jupiter, Neptune, Uranus, and something else is in Capricorn. But all that to say, I'm a heavy earth energy. So when things like this happen, I get very sleepy. The last couple weeks I've been very sleepy. I sleep through progrades, I sleep through retrogrades. These last couple weeks I've been asleep. But for those of you guys, if you are earth energies, you might have felt your kundalini put you down. If you're heavy earth energies, so especially for my people who have a Mars and Taurus, or like if you were, if your Mars is in a fire sign, you might have found yourself like super awakened on like a quick jolt. Be mindful, that you don't hurt yourself because we are in the middle of winter still. We have not entered Aries energy yet, so we're not in a space where you can not can. I'm not gonna say you can or can't do something, but we're not in that season of like doing the most yet. We're still in the season of like manifesting, materializing, tapping in, inner conversations, all that fun stuff. So, all my water babies, I know y'all probably felt like a sense of a tug of war between sleeping and staying awake. And my air energy probably felt that jolt along with the fire, with that Mars and Gemini energy. Peace, love. What we went through. Okay. So on January 16th, which was a Monday, we were at 37% waning crescent moon. Um, the moon rose at 1:40 a.m. and is set at 12:09 p.m. And then the moon was also in Scorpio energy. So, like I said, we started off the week with the moon in Scorpio energy. The waning crescent moon is the moon of cleansing. So it's the last moon phase of the cycle. As you guys know, we're going into the new moon energy towards the end of the week. This is the energy of letting go and going inward and reflecting and planning, and it's all fun stuff. If you guys want to know some things to have on your altar, which you could purchase on lessnobiescollection.com, bloodstone, tourmaline quartz, amethyst, apatite, carnelian, selenite, clear quartz, and white sage are good stones to have. Also on Monday, the sunrise was at 7:19 and it set at 4:59 p.m. The moon and Zubin al-Janubi were at minimal angle at 11:42 a.m. The moon was 1.7 degrees south southwest and conjunction was at 12:55 p.m. The moon was 1.8 degrees south, and you were able to observe that at 6:32 a.m. with a 2.6 west southwest separation. For those of you guys who don't know, conjunctions are like new moons. It's like that energy of the moons aligning with one another, creating the new moon vibe. So this is essentially like a new pattern. It's like patterns within patterns, if you will. So Zubin el-Janubi is actually a star in the Libra constellation. So even though we were in the Scorpio zodiac, we're still in the Libra constellation. And this is located at the southern scale, or prior to colonialism of the constellations, the southern claw. This is the energy of redemption. It brings off the energy of Saturn and Mars, which is like that aggressive, assertive warrior like energy, that quick jolt wake up. Also being the disciplinarian, creating some type of order. So tapping into, establishing or exercising some boundaries on Monday was most definitely an amazing way to start the week. It was a good way to start the week, writing off some boundaries that you have intentions on exercising and praying for the best for the rest of the day. The sun also entered the sixth house on January 16th. So at that time, the sun was still in Capricorn energy, entering the sixth house, applying those boundaries to your daily routine, your health, and your wellness. Most definitely. On Monday, I started slowly adding a workout routine into my morning. So it actually wasn't intentional because I really tap in. I don't do the planetary forecast to follow it bit by bit. That's one thing that I try to tell y'all. Please don't do that. Um, it's to learn, take notes, be aware of, but you don't have to live through it. So when I do things, I usually like read my planetary forecast or I watch my own videos over again and kind of rehash with myself. And I'm like, oh snap, that did happen. I was in alignment. That's dope. So I always love when that happens. Also on Tuesday, which was kind of like yesterday, it was yesterday. Well, now we're in Thursday. So January 17th, we had a 26% waning crescent moon. The moon rose at 2:51 a.m. and it sets at 12:43 p.m. Still in Scorpio zodiac energy. The sun rose at 7:18 a.m. and set at 5 p.m. So we get a couple minutes of sun each day still. The International Space Station was visible from 5:52 p.m. to 6 p.m. and 7:29 p.m. to 7:33 p.m. And there was also a evening visibility of the comet ZTFC 2022 E3. And for those of you guys who are tapped into YouTube, you can see those two images right there. The ISS Zarya in the first photo, being like a little below Neptune, and then having the second photo being the comet over there underneath the Draco constellation. January 18th, we dealt with the wanting, though the crescent moon near in Aries, which is a star in the Scorpio constellation, as you guys can see. We rose with the 17% wanting crescent moon. The moon rose at 4:06 a.m. and is set at 1:26 p.m. We're in a Sagittarius zodiac energy with the moon. The sun rose at 7:18 p.m. and set at 5:01 p.m. So we got like another minute of sunlight yesterday. The moon and the Shuba were in conjunction at 6:09 p.m. with the moon at 0.4 degrees south, minimal angle at 6:09 p.m. with the moon 0.4 degrees south. And that was observable at 4:19 a.m. with a 7.3 degree east southeast separation. Now that pattern with the Shuba is bringing on the energy from again the Scorpio constellation, but this is the energy of Mars and Saturn as well, still bringing that assertive aggressive energy towards the different authorities, discipline and order that you're placing in your root chakra. Again, like I told you, your root chakra is going to be exercised. You're going to be put in places and situations, and sometimes it's not always deep as like an outside place or situation exercising your boundaries. Sometimes it's things that you do with yourself. Like for me, I'm an overthinker, so this week the theme has been like I have boundaries on my thoughts. Like I got to know when to get out of my head, when to an intrusive thought to be an intrusive thought, an intrusive emotion to be just that, and not overwhelm me or overcome me in logic. So that's a boundary that I have with myself that I've been working on, that I've been trying to exercise. So it's not always as like cut and dry as somebody's going to come to you and push you. Like it's not always cut and dry, but that's a new pattern with that. So we have two patterns over the first couple of days, aligning you into being tapped into what do you call it, your boundaries, your inner discipline, your order that you're setting for yourself. The new beginnings that you're setting for yourself, allowing your triggers and things to assist you with creating new boundaries in order and stuff like that. The moon and Graphius also created another pattern. They were in conjunction at 7:43 p.m. The moon was 3.4 degrees south. Minimal angle occurred at 6:55 p.m. The moon was 3.4 degrees south then too, and it was observable at 4:25 a.m. with a 7.8 degree southeast separation. Now the star Graphius is also in the Scorpio constellation. Graphius is the star still matter Mars and Saturn energy. So we're still going through, these patterns. So there's going to be multiple challenges. It's going to be multiple exercises. It's going to be multiple assaults on your boundaries. And just know that we are literally in day one, because all this happened yesterday, Wednesday, the 18th. We're only about 12 minutes into the 19th. So, all these things, are setting, the tone for the boundaries, for the order, for the routine, all those different things. And just know it's in the sixth house. So it's your daily life. What are you doing on a daily basis? Are you going to wake up with drinking water? Are you going to, cut back on doing certain things, different things like that? The moon in Aries is was conjunction at 3:50 a.m. The moon was 1.6 degrees north, minimal angle at 5:03 a.m. and the moon was 1.5 degrees north northeast. So, in Aries is also a star in the Scorpius constellation. So now we move away from the Mars and Saturn energy and we're moving into Mars and Jupiter energy. And we know Jupiter is currently in Aries. So bringing new beginnings into your space, breaking traditions, that generosity, that looking at wisdom. So after you get past the challenges towards the discipline and order with those Mars and Saturn stars, the different, challenges you're going to get. Now you're going to come into that energy of, okay, we see, you accepted the challenges, you've been through the challenges, now you're going to see, rewards come accompanied with those challenges. And some of those rewards might be instantaneous because all three of these conjunctions occurred on the same day, kind of like hour after hour, these conjunctions occurred. And like I said, these are new moons, new patterns. So, you have these, so with the Mars and Jupiter planet following up behind it, yeah, you might see instantaneous rewards for you, pulling through and allowing those challenges not to, flex on your boundaries or staying firm in your boundaries and stuff. It might be, something as quick as a phone call from somebody that you've been waiting on or this over there, just because you stay firm in your boundaries. And like, good for you. Yeah, good for you. So, stick to your boundaries, y'all, because that Mars and Jupiter star comes right after those Mars and Saturn stars. But that just goes to show you, you're going to be knocked down a couple times before you get that reward, though. Because how many did we go across there? I think we had one on the 16th, right? The moon is Zubin Al Janubi, and then we had one on the we had two, the Shuba and Grafias. So it's going to be like three hits of challenges before you get that gift, before you get that knowledge, before that you get that wisdom. So please don't allow yourself to feel like super duper dragged, just be up for the challenge. You know what I'm saying? Just be up for the challenge. Tap into your third eye. Those genius qualities you overlook about yourself, they probably would have armed you during these Mars and Saturn patterns. Mercury was also stationary this morning, well, Wednesday morning at 8:52 a.m. before its prograde motion. So starting on Wednesday, we had Mercury go prograde that morning. So, I was sleepy. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm glad that today I didn't really have too much to do today because I definitely chilled. Pluto and the Sun are in conjunction at 1:16 p.m. Pluto was 2.3 degrees south. Here goes another new pattern with the Pluto, the energy of transformation and change and stepping into your power. And we know Pluto right now is in Capricorn energy, creating transformation in your boundaries, the structure and stuff of self, right? But they're in conjunction. So your ego, creating transformation in your ego, allowing those new boundaries, allowing that new infrastructure and all those things to create new things within your ego, within your experiences, And then Saturn and Deneb Al Jelde are in conjunction from 6:16 p.m. Saturn is 1.4 degrees north. At this time, again, that energy of challenges, discipline and order is now, creating a new pattern with this Saturn and Jupiter powered star. Again, coming into a certain level of wisdom, luck, fortune, generosity coming by you really pulling through with these boundaries and these challenges. That's to say, like, these next couple weeks are going to be difficult. A pattern occurs every 13 days or so. So again, you're going to be dragged a little bit, but this is the muscle time. This is muscle time, y'all. And then the International Space Station is visible from 6:40 p.m. to 6:46 p.m. Now today, which is Thursday, January 19th, we're at a 9% waning crescent moon. I'm still in the space of going inward. Go ahead and meditate, all that fun stuff. Cleansing, all that fun stuff, getting rid of everything you need to get rid of, for the new moon that's coming to us. The moon will rise at 5:21 a.m. and it will be setting at 2:21 p.m. We are still in the Sagittarius zodiac energy with our moon. The sun will rise at 7:17 a.m. and set at 5:02 p.m. So we just gained about like 3 minutes of sunlight since Monday. Earth shine will be visible on the moon before sunrise, so it'll be giving the moon that full moon looking orb thing going on, but it won't be full. The International Space Station will be visible from 5:52 p.m. to 5:59 p.m. and 7:29 p.m. to 7:32 p.m. Um, the maximum south. I'm sorry, I got so caught up. I wasn't even going through these, but yeah, this is the moon in Aries and Mercury, stationary before prograde. Also, the night sky on January 19th. You have Aries and the Scorpius constellation. You see kind of like the motion of the moon. Also on January 19th, if you notice, you'll see Mercury and then the Lagoon M8 little nebula in between the moon. So nice little line there going on in the Sagittarian constellation. So that's opening up a good space for your mind and your emotions and your decision making to like, with a nebula there is like creating some really good like, energy for knowledge. Today is a really dope day. And then it's Thursday on top of that, and Jupiter rules Thursday. Today is a really good day to study, read, learn some shit, tap into my planetary forecast. you know, Time to put some hustle in the muscles, most definitely, yes. So this is what the sky is going to look at like at 6 a.m. if you're looking southeast, you know. So it's really nice. Um, Around like 4:30. This is, we got the oh, let me get into that. I'll get into that in a second. But yeah, so the maximum south declination of the moon is also happening today. The moon in Spiralis will be at minimal angle at 11:59 p.m. The moon will be 2.3 degrees south, and Spiralis is actually a star in the Sagittarian constellation. So now we're finally entering the constellation with the zodiac energy, and Spiralis gives off the energy of Jupiter and Mars. So, we moved away from the challenges, those patterns, and now we're moving into the patterns of collecting wisdom, collecting knowledge, expanding your philosophy, your mindset on things. With that, it's still the aggressive, assertive energy. So it's whether you're being taught these lessons in an aggressive, certain way, or you're providing these lessons in an aggressive, assertive way. But, still receiving that luck and that fortune from that as well. Um, Again, this is in alignment with your moon, which is your third eye, you being tapped into, that emoja of self. Go back into your palace energy so that you can really absorb the Zubin El Janubi energy. Probably be a good time to, meditate today as well to get that knowledge that you're looking for. Also, the alignment of Mercury, Moon. Oh yeah, I got into that. The Lagoon Nebula. Also, the Ursay meteor shower will be at its peak today as well. This is not like a super big meteor shower. It's only about 3 an hour. Excuse me, but it's happening in the Ursa Minor, which is the little bear constellation, little baby bear. In between that and the Draco constellation, which is, the dragon that's aligned with Tiamat, being the goddess of the primordial waters, and the whole story with her coming down and Enki and the Lil, attacking her and putting her foot in her mouth and all that fun stuff. Now we're going to the 20th, January 20th, which is tomorrow, Friday. We're at the 4% waning crescent moon. The moon is going to rise at 6:30 a.m. and set at 3:29 p.m. We're now in the Capricorn zodiac energy. The sun will rise at 7:17 a.m. and set at 5:03 p.m. The moon in Spiralis will now be in conjunction. So now we're creating the new moon, new pattern energy with the Spiralis, which is, we said, was the Mars and Jupiter energy. All right. Ambition, pride, places of power, business, and justice. That's, this big energy is going to come to you on Friday, which is cool because it's also like Friday is like a payday. The moon and Mercury will also be in conjunction, another new moon, new pattern type of energy. Mercury, is the decision making mind, how you make decisions, the patterns that you're going through, how you communicate, how you express your power of expression and stuff like that. So that's going to be in alignment with your feelings. You're going to start speaking things into existence that you feel, that you think, that you believe. Start speaking your subconscious into spaces. Friday will be a good place to go and socialize or stand on a podium or something and have those conversations. Jupiter will also be the smallest distance to the sun, so Jupiter will also be at its brightest, which is pretty dope because we're still in that energy of, Obatala, of knowledge and things like that. Pluto is the furthest distance from the Earth on tomorrow. It'll be, which is also called the perihelion. This won't happen again until December 5th, 2034. And it won't happen this close again until the 2050s. And Jupiter is actually growing. So, I mean, yeah, this planet is actually growing. So, when it comes back around this way, it'll be like a whole nother side planet. So that's pretty cool. Um, and exciting. We're gonna be experiencing a few different phenomenons with Pluto in 2023, and this one being one of them, and also Pluto entering Aquarius energy on March 23rd, 3/23/23 is when Pluto will be entering an Aquarian energy just to get his toe wet, because it's gonna go right back into Capricorn energy for a little bit, and then we'll officially be in Aquarian energy in 2024, November 19th, 2024, and then again January 24, 2024. So those are big dates as far as the federal government goes, with those being election announcement dates. And what is that, when the president goes into the White House date, and then 3/23/23. Whew, I can only imagine what's going to happen on that day. Y'all mark y'all calendars, because that's when Pluto is going to go into Aquarius energy, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see. We haven't been in Aquarian energy in many, many years. I want to say it was back during the times of our revolutions. About like the 1700s or so was the last time we had our Pluto and Aquarian energy, and that's when a lot of the revolutions happened. The the American Revolution with 1776, and all the different revolutions that happened during colonialism. It was a heavy wartime. A lot of people fighting for their freedom. A lot of people fighting to rebel socially and things like that happened the last time Pluto was in Aquarian energy. So again, mark your calendars, March 23rd, 23. Pluto will be re-entering into Aquarian energy, and something big is going to happen. It's definitely, something to keep your eyes out for and prepare yourself. Like all this, I hate fear mongering. I think that is very irresponsible to do. At the same token, we see what's happening here already. Prepare yourself to grow your own food. Prepare yourself for self-sufficiency so that you can find a self-sufficient tribe. Prepare yourself. Don't be scared. It's not time to be scared. Time to be prepared. You know what I mean? Of the different, it's so many things that could happen. Before things come together, they gotta fall apart. But you gotta be mindful that a lot of people's mindsets is not ready for the fall apart. So, you wanna learn how to play dodgeball and stay out the way. But that's what's happening with that. Pluto is doing some really dope things this year for us and with us. And then the moon in Albalda will also be in conjunction, another new pattern. We got a lot of new patterns happening this week. Albalda is the star in the Sagittarius constellation. So even though we're in the Capricorn zodiac, we're still in the Sagittarian constellation with the moon, okay? This is located in the back head of the Archer, and this is the energy of harvest and gain and building and travelers and all that stuff. It's a good day to travel. It's a good day to like really work on like manifesting certain things. So this is the pattern of that. So we got through the challenges and the root chakra. We're getting to the generosity and the awards, and now we're getting into the harvesting part, the harvesting pattern. You see the patterns that are being created, for the next couple weeks for you. That conjunction is going to occur at 4:32 p.m. The moon is going to be 6.6 degrees south The International Space Station will be visible from 6:40 to 6:46 p.m. Pallas will be the smallest distance to the Earth. So if you really want to tap into your subconscious as far as your overlooked qualities about self, Friday is definitely the day to do it. And also the Sun enters Aquarius zodiac around 4:40 a.m. on Friday. So if you find yourself awake around 4:40 a.m., you can go outside and ground yourself and do what all the things you need to do as the Sun enters Aquarius zodiac and you get your egos in tune. um, January 21st, which is Saturday, we're now at the 1% waning crescent moon. Still going inward and cleaning up some things. The moon is going to rise at 7:29 a.m. and set at 4:47 p.m. We're still in the Capricorn zodiac energy. The sun will rise at 7:16 a.m. and the sun is going to set at 5:05 p.m. The moon and Pluto will be in conjunction at 8:34 a.m. The moon will be 3.6 degrees south. Minimal angle will be at 9:41 a.m. Again, another new pattern of this week with the moon and Pluto creating transformation in your emotions. All of that is still happening in the Capricorn constellation and the Capricorn zodiac as far as boundaries, challenges, more challenges to come to exercise, but this will be more so in your feminine side, your emotions and things, in your subconscious, your third eye. So now this will be the battle of the minds, you know. Where's your emotions at? Are you being emotionally intelligent? Little triggers are going to come to you. Are you ready for that? There's power in transformation. Also, Pallas will reach its maximum brightness around 1 p.m. The moon will be the smallest distance to the Earth at this time as well. Mercury in cause borealis will be at minimal angle at 8:40 a.m. and Mercury is 5.1 north northeast separation. The new moon will be at 3:54 p.m. So the moon is going to rise at 3:54 p.m. in the new state. The moon will be between the sun and the earth. And that's what the new moon is. It's like the alignment between the sun and the earth. Um, and then the International Space Station will be visible from 5:51 p.m. to 5:59 p.m. and 7:29 p.m. to 7:32 p.m. Venus in Deneb al-Jedi will have a minimal angle at 11:08 p.m. Venus will be 1 degree north-northwest, and you'll be able to observe that at 6:18 p.m. with a 1 degree north-northwest separation. Here's another new moon energy right here. With Venus in Deneb al-Jedi, Venus is the energy of your self-esteem, beauty, your sense of beauty, your priorities, what makes you feel good with it. How do you behave when you have things around you that feel good to you? And then the Deneb el-Jedi is the star in the Capricorn constellation. It gives off the energy of Saturn and Jupiter being conservative, having a sense of dignity, some sort of level of discipline in your indulgences. So be mindful of that new pattern. There's certain levels of discipline you have to have with those pinnacles. It's a certain level of discipline you have to have in your indulgences. You're been accumulating all this joy and this luck and this wisdom with all this Tahuti energy. Now you have to learn discernment with spending it, right? Can't just be spending it all willy-nilly on anybody, because that always come up to bite you in the ass. Pan stars, this is a comet, C 2017 K2, is going to reach its maximum brightness at 11:24 p.m. So you'll be able to catch that comet on Friday night as well. This is what the sky is going to look like at dusk on, what is that, Friday. You see that alignment with Saturn, Venus, and Fomalhaut, creating that little obtuse triangle in that space. And Fomalhaut is actually the brightest star in the Pisces constellation, and it gives off the energy of Venus and Mercury, which is like psychic energy, refined, being a royal star, pretty much it. So there's definitely like the spiritual energy, being able to tap into spirit, allowing your subconscious to really have conversations with you, right? Especially in the realm with Saturn doing a whole bunch of stuff, all these Saturn empowered stars, and finding discipline in that Venus energy. Let Fomalhaut, align with that energy, and kind of like, because this is the energy of Venus and Mercury. So it's going to exercise your decision making skills and some of your patterns in your life. when you start to, get some discipline in your pleasure seeking center, that Venus energy. This is the new moon vibe. You see the moon, that little dark circle over there, just being, blotted out by the sun. This is the comet Pan-STARRS C 2017. That's going to be at its brightest. You'll be able to see that near the Pavo constellation underneath octanes. These are a lot of our smaller constellations that we have all over the place. All right, so January 22nd, we are officially, rising with the new moon at 0%. The new moon is the moon of rebirth. It's aligned with the sun. This is the energy of rest and new beginnings. Intuition is also at its peak at this time. It's a good time to tap into spirit, meditate definitely to plan out your goals. Some crystals that have into your space at this time is sapphire, labradorite, selenite, garnet, um, aquamarine, and ginger is also good to have. Stars ain't ever lie. Sure enough, don't. The sun will rise at 7:16 a.m. and it'll be setting at 5:06 p.m. Also, our new moon will be in Aquarius, so setting the tone for what Pluto is about to do to us this year, definitely. Our new moon being in Aquarian energy, that social rebellion, that attachment, getting rid of like some traditions that we have. A lot of y'all just shaking up the foundations of things. Let these smaller, let these younger generations do their work. Let them shake these things up. They are not lazy. They are not slow. They are not shallow. They're not posting everybody's, but they're not doing anything. They're shaking up things. A lot of the traumas that traumatized us, they're not allowing to traumatize them. They will not allow themselves to be quiet, and that's okay. Oh, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. I always catch this, but they're not allowing themselves to be silenced at all. And we have to move out their way because these are the ones that we summoned. We summoned ourselves to do what we're supposed to do, and we summoned them to do what they're supposed to do. So let them do what they're supposed to do and stop getting in their way with your judgments and, the things that y'all say. Y'all putting this energy out to the universe and you're showing that you're not moving in alignment with the stars around you. And that's going to create some traction. It's going to create some friction. You guys are moving against each other. You're moving against the younger generation that you summoned here to destroy. Like, let them do their work. Yeah, that's what I got to say about that. Anyway, the north pole of the moon will be tipped into view. There'll be an evening visibility of Venus and Saturn will be in conjunction again, creating a new pattern. Um, It'll be at 2:31 p.m. Venus will be zero point 0.4 degrees south. Minimal angle will be at 5:11 p.m. Venus will be 0.3 degrees south southeast, and we'll be able to observe that at 5:41 p.m. with a zero point 0.3 degrees south southeast separation. Again, y'all know Venus is all about, pleasure seeking, your heart, what feels good to you, your self-esteem, how you view beauty and beautiful things and your pinnacles and stuff like that. And Saturn is the energy of challenges, discipline, order, authority. Again, giving you that opportunity to find some type of discipline and order with your emotions. Find some discipline and order with the things that you indulge in and you consume, how you're spending your money, how you're spending your energy, all of those things. Find order in that. Also, the moon in Saturn will also be at minimal angle at 3:30 a.m. The moon will be 4.1 degrees south southeast, conjunction at 2:10 a.m. The moon will be 4.2 degrees south, and be able to observe that between 5:50 with a 8.6 degrees southwest separation. And it's cool because the moon will not only be in conjunction with Saturn on this day, but it'll also be in conjunction with Venus on this day as well. So the moon will be traveling through Saturn of the disciplining in order and through Venus. So your emotions will be very much tied into this. So come into the space that if you don't want to listen and you don't want to be in alignment, that's fine. However, there are going to be some hurdles that are going to come to you by you not being in alignment. Certain things will be taken away from you. It's going to hurt your feelings. and this is so that you can learn how to reprioritize things, how to find beauty in different things. You're out of order. It's time for you to, come back to order. And that's what's going to happen with the moon sliding in between Venus and Saturn on this day and then making its way to Deneb al-Jodi. We know that Deneb al-Jodi is the star in the Capricorn constellation. So even though we're in the Aquarius zodiac, we're still in the Capricorn constellation. And this is giving off the energy of Saturn and Jupiter. So we're bringing on the wisdom. What did we learn after your feelings done ran through Saturn and Venus? What did we learn? And that's where we're coming to. So by the end of this day, y'all should be at y'all journals writing down what y'all learned. That conjunction is going to occur at 1:35 a.m. The moon will be 2.8 degrees south. Minimal angle will occur at 2:28 a.m. The moon will be 2.7 degrees south southeast, and be able to observe that at 5:58 p.m. with a 7.1 degrees southwest separation. So those are all the new patterns that will be coming through just off of like Sunday alone. Coming through. It's a lot of things coming into order, y'all. A lot of things coming into order. Your root chakras, it's definitely time to be grounded in the root chakras, because when your kundalini rises out of your root chakra, if your foundation ain't right, your kundalini can get attacked. That means that there's other energy that can come through. Your root chakra is like your gate. Like, I think of the root chakra as like you're a gated community. And in order for people to get through to the root chakra, they have to know the code to get in. Not people, experiences, situations, energy attacks, all that. They have to know the code in order to even get in to touch your kundalini. In Aries season, when Aries season comes, we're going to have a lot of planetary placements in the solar plexus chakra. That means your sympathetic side of self is going to be awakened and ready to get shit done. However, during these dark times when you were supposed to be going into self and going through these patterns and learning and exercising and setting your boundaries and coming to realizations and meditating and fasting and going through your chances, if you don't do that now, when the kundalini rises from all the placements in your Aries energy, you're not going to be ready. You're going to be over here spending money all crazy. There's going to be no discipline. You just going to just run outside and just go crazy. It's like having an untrained dog and then just send him outside and think he's going to run back in the house. He's not. You didn't train that kundalini to do anything all winter long. There was no discipline going on. There was no lessons going on. There was no realizations, no transparency. None of that was going on. So when we get to the Aries season, you just want to go outside and just be all out everywhere doing everything. And you can't do that. You're going to get your ass beat every time. And Aries is not a fun energy to play with. You don't play with Aries energy. Aries energy don't play with you. That's the time of waking up and moving in grace and like, hey, we chill, we woke up, what's up? Like, but if you're not going through the building blocks now, we're still in winter time. It's okay. You still got time. The planets are going prograde, but they're going, they just switching their gears to prepare themselves for Aries season. So you still have time to switch your gears and prepare yourself for Aries season. It's never too late. However, don't think that you're about to just go out into the new year and start just acting up, acting out, and everything move into your favor when you're not doing the work of the shadow season. It's not going. It's going to be a lot of to get your challenges during the time where Aries is at its peak is way harder to get than getting your challenges during the winter months. It's way harder. And that's why they associate like depression and stuff like that a lot with the wintertime too, because this is the time where you're supposed to be going inward. You're supposed to be paying it. You're supposed to be touching those wounds of self. You're supposed to be doing that shadow work. And a lot of y'all be fighting against the shadow work. Y'all don't want to see y'all third eye. Y'all don't want to see y'all crown chakra. Y'all don't want to see y'all own. Y'all don't want to see y'all wounds and y'all triggers. And y'all don't want to see none of that. So you spend all winter long fighting against it, moving against it. And it creates this very deep depression, because at this time, Tahuti is major. Tahuti is heavy out here. It's all about that kind of knowledge out here right now. Saturn is heavy. Saturn is going to create all them obstacles and challenges and trials and hardships and shit, because you're not coming into a space where you're doing the work. You're moving against it. Peace. all that stuff is going to hurt. So like do it now while you can. So like when Aries season come, you're ready, you're prepared, you've armed yourself, you did everything you had to do, you know. Um, Uranus is also going to be stationary on the 20th. The 22nd is a big, in addition to Wednesday, 22nd is a big day in the cosmos. But Uranus is stationary at 7:19 p.m. before they go prograde. Uranus has been in retrograde for a minute as well. And then Venus will be entering Aquarius at 11:33 p.m. on the 22nd as well. So, you can come into that space. And that's beautiful because the moon then went through all these spaces, Venus and Saturn going through all these spaces, creating new boundaries and stuff. And then right after that alignment with the moon, Saturn, and Venus, you come into Venus going into Aquarian energy. So that means a lot of traditional mindsets about beauty, about self-esteem, about pinnacles should be happening on Sunday. Or you're going to walk into it happening. That's going to be the new beginning for you. Monday, the 23rd, will be at a 2% waxing crescent moon. The moon's going to rise at 8:53 a.m. and set at 7:29 p.m. We'll be in the Aquarius zodiac still. And the waxing crescent moon is actually the moon of regeneration. Positive changes are starting to take form. We're moving out of all that crazy Saturn energy a little bit, but we're still in those patterns. Don't get it twisted. Patterns last for 13 days. Um, but this is the first phase after the new moon, and it's time to sort through confusing emotions. So during this time, a lot of those different, phases that we started, this week that I talked about, the conjunctions and stuff, starting next week, it'll be time to start sorting through them. Maybe watch this video over again, or at least watch this last part where I talk about the conjunctions and stuff. What I started this like around like 2 hours and 15 minutes. Fast forward it to the 2 hour and 15 minute part and listen to the weekly John. Take note of all the conjunctions that I explained and sort through them. Starting next week, maybe Monday might be a good day. And also, this is a good time to set your mind to goals, manifest intentions, clear mindsets and stuff. And some crystals I have during this time is the ruby, the citrine, malachite, aventurine, carnelian, rose quartz, and bergamot are good to have on your altar. Also, on Monday, the sun will rise at 7:15 a.m. and set at 5:07 p.m. So we gain about a good like good 6-7 minutes of sunlight, between last Monday and the next Monday. And then the International Space Station will be visible from 5:51 p.m. to 5:58 p.m. and then 7:29 p.m. to 7:31 p.m. January 24th, which is next Tuesday, will be at a 7% waxing crescent moon. The moon is going to rise at 9:24 a.m. and set at 8:45 p.m. We'll be in the Pisces constellation. I mean, the Pisces zodiac, so that's cool. The sun will rise at 7:14 a.m. and it's going to set at 5:08 p.m. The International Space Station will be visible at 6:39 p.m. and 6:44 p.m. And then we have a new pattern with the moon and Neptune, since they're both in Pisces energy. They'll be in conjunction at 1:33 a.m. The moon will be 3.1 degrees south. The minimum angle will occur at 2:56 a.m. The moon will be 2.9 degrees south southeast, and we'll be able to observe that at 8:36 p.m. with a 5.5 southwest separation. Oh yeah, I showed you guys the new moon and everything. Uranus, where it'll be stationary at. So again, the moon coming to your feelings, your internal self, your comfortable self, and all that, and Neptune being your subconscious, really, being able to tap into spirit, tapping, meditation time, most definitely next Tuesday, go for it. Also the moon, well, not the moon, but Neptune definitely is in the 8th house of transformation, of rebirth and death, doing away with certain things. Definitely going to need that in your emotions, especially if you do the journaling on that Monday and sort through those confusing emotions with different things. And on Sunday, if you tapped into the new moon energy and creating new goals and new plans for self and stuff like that, and you paid attention to all the conjunctions happening all week and all the new patterns and all the new places the moon went to and what that did for you in your space and time. By the time you get to next Tuesday, tapping into this moon and Neptune will be like easy sailing for you. Really, like I said, the goal is to be able to walk in a room and not have to do all the seancey stuff to allow your third eye to communicate with you, right? That's where we want to be. That's the goal. Also, Mercury will be at its highest altitude in the sky, so decision making is on the mind of everybody. Not repeating patterns, doing away with old patterns, especially if for those of you guys still, sitting in the shadow. My heavy earth energy, we move to the beat of our own drum. Um, but you'll be sitting in the shadows of the new moon energy, the new beginnings, and tapping into like rebirth of things and stuff like that. Wanting to be in alignment with, new decision making, new patterns, wanting new different experiences in your life. Speak those things into existence, man. Definitely. Next Tuesday, January 24th will be a beautiful day to just look up and really, speak new decisions into your space. Speak, a new mindset into your space. Want new things for yourself. And this is the crescent moon passing through Neptune and Vesta as well. Vesta being, remember I told you guys, in our in our sacral chakra we have Neptune subconscious and Vesta, which is our passion, our deepest passions, what's really gets you going. And that's going to be in alignment with our feelings. So, if you really allow, the universe to communicate with you and allow them to like put your steps in order, I'm sure for those of you guys who are in a space where you realize that when you speak things, it comes into existence for you almost instantaneously. You'll be able to have this conversation with the universe, like, hey, universe, like, I'll say, me being transparent with you a few weeks ago, I asked the universe, like, bro, I need you to just, I like to do everything. My Mars is in Gemini. I like to be everywhere, but I need order. Like, where do you want my focus at? And as soon as I said that, I started getting responses about my podcast, one-on-one therapy, my music. I got the focus. My space is literally me being in this space and talking to y'all. Like, be on stage and talk. Be on the podium and talk. This is where I want you to do the healing. You have to learn how to trust that I got you on the rest if you do what I tell you to do. So like that's where I'm at, trusting. I'm going to do what I was asked to do. I asked for focus. I received the focus. Now I'm going to trust the rest. Let that be what it's going to be. But again, you guys have those conversations. You guys gotta have, don't feel goofy or silly to ask the universe for what it is they already told you that they're here to provide. And then on Wednesday, you have the moon and Neptune still being around each other, dancing around each other. And then I got like a nice little view of the sky, from street view, when you're down on the street and you're looking up, you can see the planets and things like that, how they look over our dome, over here I'm on the northern hemisphere. Yeah. We're gonna get into that later on the next episode of Virgo Version Talk when we talk about the celestial map. But this is like, you can see like a nice pathway of the moon from January 17th to the 19th. The different like zodiacs is going through that whole, Scorpius constellation, the different stars it gets alignment with after it moves out of the Sagittarius constellation. And then from the 22nd to the 24th, you see the moon, moving down to where it's back to its closest point. You'll start to see the moon really up close or prior to it going into the new moon phase. And then even after the new moon phase. So, you see the alignment of Venus, Saturn, and the moon. The obtuse triangle we spoke about, all those different alignments. And that's the code if you guys ever want to go on my website. I do personal natal chart readings. I do, either the tropical, the sidereal, nakshatras, or the draconian, or I do all of them. Or, if you want a druid reading, an animism reading, numerology, geometria, I do the readings, or we could do therapy sessions. Those are two different things. A reading is when I pull out the tarot cards. A therapy session is we're going through them, we're communicating through them, and we're learning to heal through them. And I present it the same way I present it here when I utilize the chakra slides and we go through which chakras each planet is in and different energies, and you can keep the presentation for yourself to watch as many times as you like, and you get the PowerPoint yourself as well so that you have that information for yourself. And I also make healing home and body decor. So, if you guys want a code, that it takes $11 off everything. And just to give you some cliff notes, so Neptune is going to be in Pisces it has been in Pisces since February 14th, 2012, and it will remain in Pisces until January 26th, 2026. So you can foresee Neptune being in that subconscious energy of itself, for a while. We got some more time for the subconscious to be in the subconscious, and you just get in a black hole of thought. Pluto's our energy of transformation and power and death and rebirth. It has been in Capricorn energy, in that energy of authority and law and order since January 26, 2008. We know January 26, 2008, around the time Obama came into office. That was a big transformation in power. I don't know, for myself, I went to a predominantly white school. So when Obama came to office, kind of got like a lot of transformation and like the mindset of a lot of my teachers and guidance counselors. It was wild. But also seeing where a lot of people stand at with different things was a big thing. Pluto will remain in Capricorn energy until January 20th, 2024. So that's when it'll officially enter Aquarius energy. Prior to it officially entering Aquarius energy, Pluto will dip its toe into Aquarian energy on March 23rd, 2023. So March 23rd, 2023. He gets on my nerves. And it's so annoying. Like, it's nobody around. He's just like, ugh. Okay. So March 23rd, 2023 is when Pluto will be dipping its toe into Aquarian energy. Which I said, save the date for that. Uranus has been in Taurus since March 15th, 2019. The lot of parallels we made with that was, the progressive changes, the significant changes we have seen in our how we spend money, how we perceive beauty, how we indulge in things that make us happy and stuff like that, how we prioritize things. That definitely has been progressed tremendously. And Uranus will remain in Taurus, keep giving us that progressive energy in our pentacles until April 26th, 2026. Also, Chiron, which is the energy of wounds and how you turn your wounds into a superpower, has been in Aries, that energy of new beginnings, since February 18th, 2019. So the wounds and things were sitting in, a month or so prior to the whole quarantine thing started. Like our wounds and stuff were sitting in that energy of new beginnings. So like Chiron really set the tone for, Chiron and Uranus coming together really set the tone for a lot of the progressive changes and the breaking of traditions and all those different things that we've been experiencing. And it was in a very aggressive, assertive way, was it not? But Chiron will be in Aries energy until October 19th, 2026. Aries, which is the feminine energy of rebellion and discord, has also been in Aries since 1925, creating that feminine energy of warrior-like energy, assertiveness, new beginnings, and stuff like that. Again, some of the parallels we made is the different, things that are going on with the women's movement and stuff. And that will remain in Aries energy until June 2024. So those are some cliff notes that we have, with, things to look forward to in the planets. My apologies on behalf of my dog and all the things going on around it. Thank you guys for tapping into the planetary forecast. This week was way longer than last week, and that is okay. I appreciate y'all tapping in and for sticking with me for 3 hours. Again, during the week, just tap in. Rewind to different parts that you want to follow with. That's the beauty of this, and it can play in the background. But yeah, that's what I have. So peace, y'all. Night, night.